welcome back to another brand new episode of Long Coat Mafia Podcast. Once again, it is I, the Reverend Godfather, the show's main host and frontman, and with me today is the one, the only, Joe. And we're here. Yes, this is going to be a different type of episode. It's going to be a cleaner type of episode. No Skype whatsoever. I know some of you are probably saying, thank fucking God. But that's different. We have some topics that we could go over right now. I know Joe probably hasn't seen Ready Player One, but we'll kind of spoiler-free talk about it.
I heard it was supposed to be a good movie.
It kind of is. And we'll be discussing some of the predictions that we had last week in regards to the whole ordeal with the Wrestlemania, some of the things that came out in regards to it, and some of the things what we got right and what we got wrong. And with me right now is also Nick Hunt's predictions that he put up with this past WrestleMania. Granted, we do realize that a lot of things that the WWE does put out in regards to professional wrestling is already planned out beforehand, but it's always fun to do the predictions nonetheless.
And predictions can change depending on contract negotiations right before the match.
Correct. And we've seen this many times before, especially the whole screw job way back in the day. And
Brett and Shawn, 97 Survivor Series.
And so it's that. And so like I said, let's go down the whole thing. We had pull out my quasi-scribbled notes. I'm sure Big Candy's not with us today through Skype. He had a kind of a injury that we will not mention right now because I don't know if he wants me to talk about it because it's kind of a laughable thing. But that's nonetheless. So I kind of gave him the week off again. So that's why we have Joe in quasi-studio right now. And that's why it's kind of a cleaner, more well-spoken episode. I won't say well-spoken, but you don't have that whole Skype nonsense. So, one of the things we had was... Where is it? I'm on the wrong page, folks. There's a two-pager.
Don't let him lie. He just can't read his own notes.
Yeah, that's right. I can't read my own notes. This is why, usually beforehand, folks, if I tend to type things out, this is just... You know what? Screw it. The Andre the Giant match, that Rumble.
Battle Royal.
The Battle Royal. Matt Hardy won that. I don't think we had any formal predictions for that because both that and the Women's Battle Royal were kind of up in the air. They were pre-show type ordeal.
The Battle Royals are just kind of thrown in there as fillers to make sure that other guys have room on the card because they usually don't have a match. And if they don't have a match, they try to do those little Battle Royals to kind of have them on the card as an extra for the fans.
Yeah, but the thing is, with the at least the guys' Battle Royal, Matt Hardy, broken Matt Hardy, if you want to call him that still. But
Woken.
Copyright
infringed, don't want to say that.
So, Vince, we would be more than happy to have you on our pitiful little podcast in Martinsburg, West Virginia. So just contact us at longcoatmafia@gmail.com. We'll be more than happy to have you and or any of your entertainers on our show, either male or female.
Preferably female.
Yeah, preferably female. We don't want, for the exception of Paige, she's been in enough controversy over the past couple months as it is. But...
Wonder how many people are getting a promotion off that.
But the thing with one of the things that a lot of folks were kind of talking about, or at least predicting for WrestleMania, was Jeff coming back. We didn't see. Yeah, we're kind of skipping around. We didn't see him come back until Monday Night Raw, and from what I'm going to say reports were, is that the reason why Jeff wasn't woken as well, or in his brother Nero persona, is because of, what'd you hear as well? Matt's wife was like kind of...
It was Rebby Hardy. I heard that it was, she didn't want Jeff to be part of the woken, broken feel with the WWE because of the DUI that he had.
Yeah. would you think that it's pretty much that she wants to make sure that he stays clean for the better part of everything before?
I think it's more to protect her husband.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And,
to make sure
yeah.
that he stays clean and sober. That way, it doesn't hurt what Matt's trying to do.
Exactly. I think she's more looking out for her husband and doesn't want his image or any of that being tarnished by something that Jeff does, which easily can be done.
Right. So she's just helping Matt protect the brand.
Yes.
That he's worked. I'm going to say he's worked hard.
He has.
Creating that brand and keeping that brand.
I'm a Jeff Hardy fan. I've been a Hardy Boys fan for a long time, back when they were wearing plaid and looked ridiculous. They looked like not rocker knockoffs, and they've done some unique things in the business. And to see Jeff Hardy fall that way, it really hurts, because I've been a fan of his for a long time, and it just really bothers me to see him go down that road. I'm hoping that maybe he can get clean again and stop drinking, and definitely staying away from the drugs, because he has not done that. But he's back now, and I believe that we will be seeing Brother Nero in the near future.
But I think right now, from like I told you where we work, is that I think Matt might play with the angle of when they kind of meet, like what he did at Raw, kind of have the Brother Nero persona come out a little bit, and it be like when everybody else would be looking at him like, what's Jeff, what's going on? Oh, and him like, I don't know what you're talking about. That kind of humorous aspect of it's there, and they're going to acknowledge it, but not really.
I think that's always going to be a way that they're going to start it off. But as popularity and demand for it kind of grows, and the fans kind of want it more, I feel that what they're going to probably do is they're probably going to have Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy at some point do like a run-in or a jump on Jeff Hardy. And it's going to be orchestrated by Bray Wyatt. And then what's going to happen is it's all going to come to a head, and they're going to beat Jeff. Jeff's going to disappear for a couple weeks. And then all of a sudden, Jeff's going to reemerge at a pay-per-view or something, and he's going to be Brother Nero and help like Matt and Bray Wyatt like win the tag titles or something like that.
I think it might be a little bit different, because I read prior to you picking me up that there might be a storyline with Matt and Bray down the road in reference to them going tit for tat again, and that could be the lead-in for Jeff Hardy becoming Brother Nero again. And
it very well could be, but I also heard rumors down the line that they are trying to give Jeff Hardy a world title push. And if they do that, then he wouldn't be able to kind of be with the Brother Nero woke and broken gimmick. And if I just don't know what they're going to do, because they changed it today. No one knows what's going to happen. But I have heard that they are trying to give Jeff Hardy a title push.
And that could be the wrench in, I don't want to say the wrench in the mix, but when it comes to Vince and his ideas, I think you're the one that told me that Vince is not really that happy about the whole broken Hardy, woken Hardy type of thing.
At first he wasn't happy about it. But what happened was they were in fights and legalities to try to get the broken gimmick. And in turn of doing that, they decided, well, we're just going to change the whole thing and do woken instead of broken, to change it around so no one's being copyrighted on. So it's the same gimmick, different name, so they don't have to worry about legalities.
But in that whole ordeal, it came out that, you know what, it was, who was it, Ring of Honor?
Yeah.
Said, you know, it's yours.
Oh, no, you're talking about TNA, Impact.
TNA.
Impact Wrestling now.
So.
But, they stopped fighting. They didn't really have a leg to stand on.
That was the whole aspect. And
they're half broke, so, you know.
Yeah. But it was... Did I write down the women's champion? No, I did not.
The women's battle royal the ending would have been better if Naomi wasn't involved in it. I like the backstabbing of the best friends.
So kind of moved down at least out my list that we went through. It was for the whole cruiserweight. Me and Big Candy kind of said Cedric for the win, and we were correct. Cedric did win that matchup. And
yes. And you know,
and Nick also agreed with us in regards to that too. So there's that. So you had kind of a three-way win in regards to that.
And you know, the funny thing is that the original person that was slated to win that match was Mustafa Ali. He was the original fan favorite going into that match that was supposed to win the match. But I felt that Cedric Alexander was a better competitor. I felt that he outperformed Mustafa Ali in that match. And I think they might have changed it midstream, which WWE is famous for. During the match, I think they changed the outcome.
Going down again, then we had, at least on my list, was the Raw Tag Team champion. My choice was the fact that it was going to be
the Bar versus Braun and somebody.
It was the Bar was going to win, and Big Candy chose Braun. And let's see here. Oh yeah. Nick agreed with Big Candy in saying that Braun was going to win, and he got that right.
I do agree with that. I didn't know who his partner was going to be, but I had a couple of people that I had thrown out there that I thought it might have been.
Who did you think it was going to be?
Well, I heard Bobby Lashley. I heard his name being thrown around a lot, and obviously he showed up on Raw the next night. That's another subject. But I also thought it might have been Chris Jericho. There's been a lot of people, Big Show, Kane. There was a lot of people.
I thought it was going to be like Big Show or Kane. Or to agree with Nick Hunt, I thought it was going to be Rey Mysterio just showing up. It would have been a shocker, but
Rey Mysterio was originally going to step up and face Cena instead of Undertaker. And a lot of people don't know.
We'll kind of get to that in a moment.
Yeah, but he had a hernia. He had a hernia, and that's why he couldn't perform.
For the way what happened on Wrestlemania is that Cena was in the audience during front row, so to speak, in the audience,
getting his drink on,
having fun, doing his thing, and a ref came down and whispered something in his ear. And during the Ascura match, which we'll get to in a moment, he ran backstage. At that point, he became, because at some point during the night, you had the
Bludgeon Brothers.
Not the Bludgeon Brothers, the Braun Strowman match.
Oh, yeah.
The match we're talking about right now. And I thought maybe that he was going to get ready for that match. He was going to be the mysterious partner. And it turned out I was wrong. Everybody was kind of wrong. It was a 10-year-old child by the name, I don't know his last name, but his first name was Nicholas.
Yes.
At first, I thought it was either one of three possibilities. One, Nicholas was a Make-A-Wish kid.
That's the first thing I thought.
And the second thing was a possible. As soon as Braun went into the audience, I didn't think it was going to be a kid. I thought it was going to be an up-and-coming wrestler, kind of like what they did with Earthquake many years ago. Like I said,
or Santino Marella.
It wouldn't have been the first time that WWE has done something like that.
No,
meaning that it was a plant. And for the folks out there who don't know what a plant is, it's if you haven't figured out, it's someone that
is a wrestler.
It's either a wrestler, or if it's a news media event, it's somebody there geared to ask certain questions, so certain information is able to come out. So I figured it was a plant wrestler somewhere in the audience.
That's what I thought too. I thought it might have been EC3 from Impact Wrestling.
Again, I wasn't really expecting a 10-year-old child, but it turns out I think both of us were half right, because Nicholas, from what you told me, was a son of one of the referee that.
John Cone. He was one of the referees for WWE. That was his son.
So either way, the kid had a WWE Wrestlemania moment, nonetheless.
Yes.
Even if it wasn't a plant, how cool would it have been that you were called up to the arena to have a moment out of the crowd?
Yeah. And you
can't. I don't care who you are. You can't take that away from you.
No.
You can't.
And not only that, but you won the tag team titles.
It showed that Braun, when you first see, I don't watch Raw that much. When I do, it's the cut in half Raw, which is the Raw that's on Hulu.
That's the one I usually watch, but I sometimes watch it on my my DVR.
So Braun always comes off like this big, powerful, scary, mean motherfucker. And I'm not putting that against him, but
have you ever watched any of his stuff on YouTube? Have you ever looked up Braun?
No.
Like, okay, for anyone that doesn't know Braun Strowman, he's like 7 foot and change, and like almost 400 pounds of solid muscle, with a big beard and long hair, and just frightening and scary deep voice.
And he's right up there, maybe out of the top 10 scariest WWE characters. He's probably right there underneath Undertaker.
And if you look up his YouTube stuff and you look him up, look his older videos, he has a lot of comedic stuff. He does a lot of funny stuff.
And this is
gets dressed up in a dress and like lipstick and like starts singing and doing crazy stuff, like just to have a good time, make people laugh.
Showed, when he came down, brought Nick down to the ring. Nick looked, despite being
petrified,
he was petrified. He didn't know what to do.
I never seen a top rope shake that much from a child.
And it was like, get in there. And he was like, it's like, just stay on the apron and you let me handle this. He turned out to be the biggest bear, gentlest bear. I'm talking about Braun.
You know, he has stepped up and actually become one of the Make-A-Wish superstars, and actually has been doing a lot of charity work with children lately, like the past 6 months. He's become huge with the kids in the Make-A-Wish network.
So he just turned out to be this biggest, gentle Ben of a bear, so to speak. And the whole aspect of, I think for the most part, Nicholas, even though he was, again, 10 years old and being uber scared, I think he wasn't freaking acting whatsoever. But I
thought he was going to pee himself. I really did.
For him being 10 in that whole situation, I wouldn't have blamed him at all. But he tagged in, and I think he did it out of instinct. He was told at some point he might have to tag in, but he tagged in, and it was one of those instances of I got to tag this guy out for a break, and it was like just that instant tagging, and all of a sudden, oh fuck, that look.
And he had it perfectly, and then he puts his hands up like he was going to fight Cesaro. Like he was ready to just duke it out with him.
But that wouldn't have ended well.
And I think Braun realized after he tagged him in, like, oh shit, and turned around and tagged him back out. I think he realized he shouldn't have tagged him.
And if that was off script,
like an oops moment.
Yeah, if it was an off script moment, it worked out beautifully. And just as well. And Vince probably wouldn't have gotten mad at that anyway, because just like, wait a minute, that worked out even better for everything. And it was just a wonderful moment. It was just seeing someone that's not really used to being in the ring, and like I said, he can never ever get that down. If he doesn't try when he's old enough to do so, try to get some of the ladies with that former tag team title aspect. It'll work for a little while, but not.
Well, as a champion, every time they crown a new champion, they make a new championship.
You mean the
belts?
The belts.
Yeah, like every time, like when a WWE superstar wins a championship, that title goes home with them, and that's theirs. That is their belt. They keep that. That goes on their mantle. So this kid actually has a actual WWE Tag Team Championship title to his name, and it actually is at his house probably right now.
That's if he's getting it. It came out, I think, a couple of days ago that there was an interview with the person who plays Hornswoggle. He was the last cruiserweight champion.
Yeah.
And he never got his belt.
They never gave it to him?
They never gave it to him.
I guess that was WWE's way of saying goodbye. Because he went to TNA right after that.
The thing is, they kept telling him, the reason why you're not getting it is because we're kind of eliminating the cruiserweight. We're not going. If it starts, we choose to start back up, then you'll get the belt. And
Well, they started the cruiserweights back up. Did he get this title?
According to the podcast he was on, no. Part of it was, I think, because he had issues with drugs. So
Yeah, WWE does not play nicely when people are.
When he went for the drug test, it wasn't because he failed. According to him, he just couldn't pee. He didn't have the ability to do so, to provide that urine sample, and so they just went bye-bye.
Well, I would figure, he could drink a glass of water, he'd be able to go. I mean, it's not like how far to go.
And to kind of go down to the SmackDown Tag Team, it was a three-way match between New Day, Bludgeon Brothers, and who was the other team? It was the Usos.
Yeah.
I chose a New Day. Big King chose the Bludgeon Brothers, and let's see here. Nick chose the Bludgeon Brothers. Unfortunately, Nick and Big Candy were right. If you want to call it a match, it was like I was tweeting out something.
Have you been watching Raw and SmackDown before WrestleMania?
No, that's the thing.
No wonder he didn't pick he picked the New Day. The Bludgeon Brothers have been squashing every tag team that's come in front of them. I mean, not just like beating them, I mean destroying them. And right before before they made that match, the Bludgeon Brothers destroyed the Usos and the New Day at the last pay-per-view, and I mean left them in a heap to where they had to be taken to the hospital. I mean, it was bad.
And I think it was, like I said, it was one of those things. I was tweeting out something, because I was trying to do almost like a live tweeting session during Wrestlemania. I look down, type it out, hit send, look up, Bludgeon Brothers win. What? Wait, what? It was like not even like 5 minutes.
It was very, very fast. They tried doing a high impact, high tempo match against the Bludgeon Brothers. A lot of high flying stuff, and it just did not work out. They wound up getting crash and burned. Bludgeon Brothers would just dominate with power, and they took over. That was it. Game over.
And next up was the Fatal 4-Way, and
United States Championship.
You're right. Mal won it. The U.S. champ. Both me, Big Candy, and Nicholas were wrong because let's see here.
I'll tell you who my pick was here in a minute. Go ahead.
Let's see. Nicholas chose Orton, Big Candy chose Rusev, and I chose Orton to retain. So all three of us were wrong on that.
My pick was going to be Bobby Roode, and I would have been wrong too. I did not expect Jinder Mahal to win the championship. Did not. And I had they were originally, I thought they were going to have Bobby Roode or Rusev win the championship, but I guess maybe they changed their mind. Vince has a thing for Jinder Mahal. I don't know what it is. He really likes Jinder Mahal as a character, and he feels that giving him pushes all the time is a good thing, and it seems like that. And Roman Reigns is another guy that Vince really likes. We'll get into that too, but he constantly is giving him shoves in the right direction and letting him kind of try to be this top guy. And again, I don't feel that he is. Jinder Mahal was part of 3MB with Heath Slater and Drew McIntyre dancing in the ring looking like an idiot. I mean, a few years ago, and now he's this jacked up guy that's dominating the wrestling scene. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
You kind of had that I won't say, it wouldn't have been the first time something like that has happened in wrestling. Because if you remember back in the day, the WCW days, when you had Raven and his flock, and the flock kind of dissipated, and you had one or two people pretty much from a group of wrestlers that was rather, what seemingly as a group was rather pathetic.
Yeah.
But as soon as they got to be on their own, they had that push to be something better.
Well, the only two off the flock that really made anything of themselves is Raven and Billy Kidman.
I think that was the one, Billy Kidman.
Billy Kidman went out, win Cruiserweight Championships, have amazing match with Rey Mysterio, Dean Malenko, Ultimo Dragon, and actually works for WWE now in the back.
So, like I said, it wasn't the first time that something like that has happened.
No.
That as a group, they kind of, as you could say, the opposite has also been true as well, because you can look at A New Day. So as weird as
they were good, they were good by themselves, and then they got together and they were fantastic.
Right. So you could see,
and also
things happen.
Another group you need to look at also is the Wyatt family.
Yeah.
They're another one of those things where they were together and they were this dominant force.
And as soon as they separated,
they went their separate ways, and now look how successful they all are.
Isn't one of them part of the?
Two of them are the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah.
They're tag team champions. And then you've got Bray Wyatt, who's a former Universal champion or WWE champion, one of the two. Anyway, you got he's a former world champion and a former tag team champion, and then you've got Bray Wyatt. Braun Strowman, who's ridiculous.
But you know what I'm talking about in regards to that.
Yes.
Now,
I don't like Jinder Mahal's character though, and I think it gets boring after a while with the whole guy on the sidelines beating people up.
What the hell did I do?
You broke it.
No, it's Facebook again. Because see, folks, I have Nick Hunt's post saved, so I could do what I'm doing tonight, and that's easily access his post. And let's see here. Let's see, where's the Intercontinental? Because that's the next one we.
Oh, the IC title.
Or the the IC title, or Intercontinental title, or the match that was spoiled by the ring in like Europe. I think where it was like Scotland or someplace like that. They said pretty much, as we discussed when we had that hostful, that it would be Seth Rollins. So we kind of did the whole aspect of, just in case Vince pulled an audible and decided, because it wouldn't be the first time.
No.
Yeah, and we're like, okay, spoiler-wise, we all know it's going to be Seth Rollins. All right, who do you think it would be? Spoilers aside, I chose... Who did I choose? I chose Finn, and Big Candy chose Seth Rollins, and so did Nick Hunt. And it turns out, if you're not going by the spoiler, both Nick Hunt and Big Candy won that, because Seth Rollins did win that particular match.
And I will say that I did pick Seth Rollins only because of the fact that I did want to see him as a Triple Crown champion, which he now is. He's won all the championships, at least once. And he's been on this roll, and he's been this amazing competitor over the years. And ever since he's come back from his injury, has been doing more and more amazing things in the ring. And every week he proves he's the guy. He's like becoming the new Rob Van Dam. He's becoming the Mr. Monday Night of now. And that's why he calls Monday Night Rollins as a jab to RVD, but it was also a homage to RVD.
And to kind of move down our list, the next up is the women's Raw Women's Champ. It was, let's see here.
That surprised me.
It was Alexa versus it was the Raw defending. It was
Nia Jax.
Nia Jax versus
Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss, and Bliss was the champion at the time.
Yes.
And Jax won the match, and let's see here. Nick got it wrong. He said Alexa Bliss is going to retain, and both me and Big Candy said Jax was going to win. Mainly because the reason why I chose Jax winning is because Bliss was being the bully, and Raw had the whole aspect of
no bullying
campaign. And
Star
the whole end. So, when watching this match, I couldn't help think that this was similar to, or at least reminded me of like a Rey Mysterio match. But the thing is, Rey Mysterio, who has been nicknamed the Giant Killer, he is always granted every match has a predicted outcome, so to speak. But seemingly Rey was always given.
Rey will come up on top in like the weirdest situations.
Not so much the weirdest situation, but he always provided the show.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't like what we've seen in this match. It was just Jax just picking up Bliss and just tossing her halfway. Just completely dominating the match.
Well, I figured Nia was going to win only because of the fact of the whole body shaming and all that and the bullying. And that's the only reason why I felt she was going to beat Bliss. Bliss, I'm not going to lie, she's very talented. She's an amazing in-ring competitor, and I just really felt that she was going to win the match only because of her merchandise sales. Because her merchandise sales are very, very, very high.
Bliss's?
Yes. She has a lot of merch, and she sells a lot of merch. And money, when you make money on merch, that usually means you're up on the top and you're winning championships. That usually means you're a top dog. When you're selling merch like that, you're the guy or the girl, the lady at the top.
Well, do you think that this would be the aspect of after a certain time she's going to get it back, or?
I have a feeling that they're going to do a show flip because the Shakedown's coming up on tomorrow, on Monday. This Monday is this Monday and Tuesday is going to be the Superstar Shakeup. I feel like she might go back to SmackDown, and I think that Charlotte might be coming to Raw. And I believe that Asuka and Charlotte are going to have another showdown.
And we'll get into their match in a minute. But first up, Cena's quick little match with the
best part of the night, man.
A lot of people, including Nick, and I think when Nick was on our show a couple of weeks ago, and last week, we didn't think that there was going to be Undertaker fighting Cena. He wouldn't have his moment in the sun, so to speak. But
work, more work.
But this time it came out. We got a glimpse of the classic Undertaker, so to speak. And I think, who's the one told me that if Undertaker, I think it might have been you, if Undertaker came out doing like something classic, quick match.
I was wrong on part of it because I thought because Kid Rock was being inducted into the Hall of Fame that he was going to do his the American Badass Undertaker, the one that came out on the motorcycle on the Harley with the headband and the sunglasses and just came out there to kick ass and take names. But I was surprised they did the classic. I'm not upset with the classic, but I was kind of looking forward to the American Badass and having Kid Rock doing a live performance of American Badass out there. Kind of felt a little cheated on that part, but Cena got his ass kicked, so I'm okay with that.
And it was just one of those things that was like, I won't say, it was kind of like the three-way tag team match. It was quick, over, done with, and...
this was a 2-minute match.
Yeah, this was obviously a 2-minute match. And it's kind of hard to say, even though you're getting a WrestleMania moment, to actually call it a WrestleMania moment when it's actually a moment.
It was a WrestleMania ass whooping. Cena actually played the part very well. He looked like he was petrified the entire time. He looked like Nicholas. Not taking a jab at the 10-year-old, but
I think Nicholas portrayed the fear way better than Cena.
Cena looked very scared for a grown man. I thought Cena was going to pee himself. I really did. Everybody was looking for the wet spot because he looked like he was scared in a corner. And then all of a sudden the bell rang and Undertaker just came right in, just left and right. So it was like, what just happened? Cena got one move off. One. Went for a trademark move, hit him with the side suplex, the protoplex, if you want to call that. That's what he used to use in OVW. He hits him with the protoplex, goes for the 5-knuckle shuffle. Undertaker sits up and grabs him by the throat, and it's like, oh, shit. And then that was pretty much it. It was over. 1, 2, 3.
And let's move on to the SmackDown Women's Champion, it was Asuka versus...
It's Asuka.
Asuka. Yes, I'm sorry, Asuka, if you're listening to this, which I seriously doubt.
Pronunciation.
But she fought
Charlotte
Flair, and Flair retained the title. Surprisingly, let's see, what did...
I am super shocked, by
everybody, the way. Me, Nick Hunt, and Big Candy all chose Asuka.
I also chose Asuka.
We thought that she was going to retain her winning streak and lose it maybe
next year,
next pay-per-view or sometime down the line.
I thought she was going to retain. I thought she was going to win the championship, and I thought she was going to retain it, hold her undefeated streak until WrestleMania next year. And I felt like she was going to lose to Ronda Rousey. That was my suggestions. But to lose to Charlotte is not really a terrible thing. She is the daughter of a legend, a living legend. And the match was... that match was probably one of the best matches on the card, in my eyes. Enough to where I actually was watching it at my home, and I actually had a friend over, and me and him actually stood up out of our seats, and he's not even a wrestling fan. And we both stood out of our seats and were clapping at the end of the match because of how excellent it was.
There were a lot of good matches this year in WrestleMania overall. Save for...
But to have a women's match be like one of your top draws that's a big step.
This was a damn good match for both of them. Yeah, this Flair match. It was surprising to have most of the fans, say, "Oh, we know who's going to win this, and it's not going to be Flair." And all of a sudden, Flair wins, and it being a good 15-20 minute match.
Oh, it was longer than that. It was probably 25 minutes to a half hour,
and a lot of I won't say not countouts, but it was a lot of shoulder out kickouts. Is the word I'm talking.
Yeah.
And it was very, unexpected.
Yeah. And the ending of the match was beautiful because Charlotte had her arm worked on the entire match by Asuka, her shoulder and her arm. And at the end, when she bridged for the figure 8, she was only able to use her bad arm, and she used her good arm to brace the bad arm to get the leverage on it. And that was a beautiful little thing that she did when she did that, because it made it feel more realistic and more like she was giving it her all to get this win.
And to kind of move on, next up that we have listed is the Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon versus the Kevin Owen and Sami Zayn.
I was completely wrong on this.
Nicholas Hunt chose Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and me and Big Candy chose Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. Nick Hunt was wrong on that one because Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon won. But the thing is, where me and Big Candy were wrong was that we kind of thought that Shane McMahon would turn on Daniel Bryan after the match and choose Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn as kind of like bodyguards or something like that, as a kind of
a crew.
Like a crew. And turns out we were wrong on that. But
and I have heard, I mean, they haven't done it yet, but I have heard that they are trying to do a Four Horsemen reunion and make a new Four Horsemen. And I heard some of the people that may be involved in that are Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe.
You might see like Daniel Bryan start something up.
Yeah. And I feel like Triple H might be the manager, the ringleader of the Four Horsemen, the new Four Horsemen.
So you might see something down the lines in regards to per se theory. Triple H saying, "I want to resurrect the Four Horsemen," or something similar. I want Daniel Bryan, since you're the crowd pleaser, and you know what, we want Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn back.
Yeah, you got your power and your domination people, and then you got your other people. Like I said, that match, I really expected somebody, either Shane or Daniel Bryan, to turn on each other and help Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn win the match so they would keep their contracts.
And to go back on a previous matches, because I have it on my list, we called, because John Cena has called out Undertaker for the past couple of weeks.
Month.
Big Candy thought it was going to be Omega to come out and answer the call. We were wrong. Undertaker did come out, and he won after Elijah came out as bait. And the thing is, I don't know if you noticed it in the match, because I have it written down. It seemed like I'll call it a Jedi kick in regards to Return of the Jedi, or the Skywalker kick. For the folks at home, find a copy of Return of the Jedi, and the Sarlacc pit scene. Skywalker, Mark Hamill, goes to kick one of the goons, and it's a blatant miss. It seemed like Undertaker went to kick Cena, did a Skywalker Jedi kick.
Well, what happened was, and that's not Undertaker's fault. That was Cena's fault. Cena sold the boot too early. He fell and took a bump too early, and that's just kind of happens. I mean, Undertaker really has no control over that. He's just putting his foot up. Cena's supposed to walk, kind of run into the boot, take the bump, but he bumped too early. So it looked botched, and it looked terrible.
And as we both know, at least from what I've heard, I don't know if you heard the same thing, for a lot of the newer wrestlers way back in the day, like Big Show, Undertaker was the person to learn under.
Yes.
And he was the person that kind of trained a lot of folks in the ring, and he was the teacher, the mentor, and the person that said a lot of this was Big Show. He said, when I first came in, I thought I knew a lot about wrestling, and here was Undertaker pretty much to his face, you suck. Let me show you how you really do it. And he took him under his wing and kind of polished Big Show down to made him better.
Yeah. And Undertaker did the same with Glenn Jacobs, which is Kane. Glenn Jacobs and Undertaker have been wrestling for a very long time. They've been wrestling as a tag team. They wrestled in a tag team back in WCW. I don't know if you remember Mean Mark Callis. And they were I forgot the name of the tag team. I remember them though. They were a tag team in WCW for a while before Undertaker came to the WWE.
To tell you the truth, show kind of my age. I didn't start rewatching wrestling until the NWO was just about starting. So it was roughly when
95, 96?
About 96. Back when Hogan was signed to WCW. That's when I started watching WCW, and that's when the NWO started up, and I was a diehard WCW. After being a WWE fan, or WWF fan for the longest time, I became a WCW fan because of what got me into it was Hogan, and I lost faith in Hogan, and here was these other great wrestlers like Flair and
Sting
and
Lex Luger,
Mysterio and Luther and these other wrestlers that I'm like, oh, I've heard of these guys, but I didn't really know these guys until watching WCW.
And back in WCW, they had
even though Flair got a start in WWF.
Actually, no. Flair got his start in the AWA.
I'm just saying, when everything got merged, he was big in the WWF.
Well, he was there for a short period of time. It was about 2 or 3 years that Flair was with the WWF. He was there for a short period of time, won the world title a few times. That was back when he had Mr. Perfect as his manager, entourage person. I don't know if you remember that. Mr. Perfect used to come out wearing like a black suit.
I remember Mr. Perfect and all those from back from the day.
But he used to be Ric Flair's like manager, coming out in a suit with a ponytail and, you know, trying to do all of his entourage stuff, like, you know, writing his schedule down and stuff. That was when they had the big Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth and Ric Flair having their fling, supposedly, and all the Photoshop photos that they would show. And Macho Man would lose it. They built up to a big world title match. And that's where Flair lost the belt.
I think I remember, but I don't. These were the days before you for the folks at home, this is really showing our age, that a lot of TVs back in the day that were cable ready, but if you wanted a pay-per-view, whatever it was, boxing, wrestling, you had to go down to the cable state, whoever it was, like Comcast, Xfinity, whoever, Adelphia, if they're still in business, you had to go to one of their locations, get a box, bring it back to your house, hook that box up, you're allowed to watch the pay-per-view live event, and after the live event was a re-airing of that pay-per-view, and that was it. The next day, you had to return that box to the cable company.
See, in New York, we had to call the cable company and tell them we wanted to order it and what channel it was. And they would tell us what channel it was on, and we turned into the channel, and they would pop it on for us. And then eventually, after that, we were able to go to the channel, press select and enter, and it would order it and flip it to the bill.
But these were the early days of the WW, at least for...
This was the Cablevision company.
Yeah, the Cablevision company. And to kind of go, we thought this was, at least me and Big Candy thought this was going to be the quote-unquote boring match, and that was the Ronda Rousey match versus the McMahon's. Now here's the thing. I have... My only thought with this, both of us knew that Ronda was going to win it, and we kind of thought it was going to be a double disqualification, meaning that her and, let's see, it was her and Kurt Angle. Yes, Nick Hunt agreed with us that it would have been Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey winning it, but me and Big Kenny thought it was going to be a double disqualification in the ring, that both Kurt and Ronda were going to... It almost did happen. But we were wrong. It almost happened, but we were wrong. And my only issue... I won't say issue. I had two things happen with this match. It was a long-ass match, for one. Number two, the two issues I had, or the two things I noticed, is that I know why she came out with the plaid kilt type skirt.
Why does everybody have a problem with this?
It just somehow didn't suit her.
But it was entrance gear.
Yeah, it just didn't seem right for me.
That's
one fellow's opinion.
Listen,
I have nothing against Ronda. She could kick my ass anytime. But
anyway, but the point is that some people have entrance gear that they come out with to get a rise out of the fans and make them, have a character. Like the Bludgeon Brothers, they come out in the trench coats with the masks and the big hammers, the mallets. She came out like that because of a tribute to Rowdy Piper.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I know why she did it.
Yeah,
but
they were very, very good friends. The jacket she actually wears to the ring is Piper's jacket. His wife gave it to Ronda Rousey at the funeral.
And the thing is, the other thing I won't say I had an issue. The one of the things I noticed is that, or I've noticed with the fans, the in-ring fans, they are a salty, finicky bunch, and this was one of the type of things that even though they didn't really boo Ronda, they were kind of quiet, meaning like we want to see what she has to offer, and the in-ring fans have a very high bar, and this is the type of thing that they started out very low, and about 85 to 90% into the match, they were starting to chant, "This is awesome," which means they really were gunning for it. But then again, that bar changes almost instantly a lot of times.
It does. Just look what happened on what was it? It was on
Raw?
Yeah, it was on Raw with Elias. Actually, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he was talking about stuff, and he said he said what does WWE stand for? And all the fans are behind him and says, "Who walks with Elias?" And then he said, "That's right." And then he says something else, and he said he called all the fans scumbags.
That's the thing. It's like you shouldn't give the fans that type of thing.
and
the fans will take it and run with it.
And then all the fans, I'm talking about 20,000 strong, in unison, are chanting, "We are scumbags." And you cannot script something like this. This is beautiful.
It's the fans.
And it's beautiful. And it's the Wrestlemania crowds that are usually like that, or the SummerSlam crowds, or the Royal Rumble crowds. The big key pay-per-views of WWE and the days after that pay-per-view are usually these rowdy crowds because they're from all over the world. It's not just like your normal, okay, we're going to be in New Orleans. It's going to be kind of New Orleans and surrounding areas. It's like, okay, it's WrestleMania. They had people from 96 countries in that arena on one night.
And the thing is, with that match, for the folks at home listening, what the WWE tends to do with a mixed match, which means there is a woman on each side and a male. It's a male-female tag team type of ordeal. If the male wrestler tags the female in, the opponent has to tag the female partner.
Well,
this was the first time I've seen.
The tag is actually not even necessary. If the male tags the female, the other female needs to automatically get in the ring and the male needs to leave. That's the way it's supposed to work.
Right.
But it's Ronda frickin' Rousey.
Yeah.
Do you think she's scared of a male?
No. I think that's why you've seen the look on Triple H's face, like, yeah, she could kind of look to the ref like, yeah, she's able to do this. You know, like, she could handle this.
Well, Triple H is one of the guys that runs the company.
Right.
Him and Stephanie pretty much run the company now. Vince kind of does
some stuff.
A little, but it's mostly Stephanie, Shane, and Triple H are running the company.
And he pretty much, and let's see what she's got. And she just, okay.
She let him have it.
Let him have it. And, yeah, she made Stephanie McMahon tap out with an armbar.
And she made Triple H her bitch.
Right. And the thing is, to kind of go into Monday night when Ronda came out to speak with Stephanie McMahon.
Well, she was in her arm cast.
In her quote-unquote arm cast. But I'm willing to bet that Ronda Rousey, if she really wanted to break Stephanie's arm, she could have.
Easily,
without thinking of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the fans were shocked that Ronda gave Stephanie a hug, but as soon as she switched it around,
her face changed.
You know, once I saw that, the fans again immediately went ballistic for Ronda. And when I saw the face change and what Ronda did, in my head, I saw Piper going, "I like her." Let's keep, the classic rowdy character. I like her. Let's keep her. Because that was kind of what Piper did.
He's in heaven right now. Probably not. He was probably nodding for the whole thing, like, yes.
With the biggest shitting grin.
Yes.
Like, that's my girl. I chose the right one. That was a Piper move through and through.
With the smiling and then the face change. The expression changes is something Piper always thrived at that. He was so good at being this all smiles and then having the expressional change and just turning on you like in a split second. And that's just classic.
And being that character Piper. And, raising hell with not so much Vince, but with everybody in charge. And, if you thought you were better than him, you're not. And
my next question is Ronda gonna hit Tamina Snuka with a coconut? That's my next question. I'm waiting for that to happen. Are we gonna have a Rousey's Pit? That's the next question. I really want to see Tamina Snuka get hit with a coconut by Ronda Rousey in her Piper gear.
It would be funny if it was a coconut bra too.
That would be kind of funny too, but I just want to see her do the coconut smash.
Like I said, that was a very good match, and with her, yeah, she was a little. You could see where she was rusty, or not so much rusty. Where she
was she was green.
She was green. There was a few green moves that she was doing, but when she switched over to kind of like the
jiu-jitsu MMA,
the MMA, she went right at home. Even Undertaker tends to do MMA moves too.
Yes.
So as soon as she switched over,
Well, you've got Brock Lesnar, who's an MMA fighter.
Right.
You've also got now Bobby Lashley, who's another MMA fighter. You had Dave Bautista, who's an MMA fighter. CM Punk, yeah, MMA fighter. You know what I mean? And then you've got people like Kurt Angle, who's got a Olympic background in wrestling, and Ronda Rousey has an Olympic background in jiu-jitsu,
right,
and judo. So it's just one of those things to where the WWE is kind of expanding their horizons with their characters, and they're bringing in more Olympic athletes and people that are just amazing as far as the other sports and other genres go.
And we have just looking it up. Next matchup on our list was the WWE champ.
That would be AJ Styles versus Nakamura.
A lot of people. Let's see, who did we choose? Both me and Big Kenny said AJ Styles was going to retain. Nick Hunt said it was going to be Nakamura was going to win, and me and Big Kenny were right, and AJ did retain the title, and boy was Nakamura pissed.
Okay, I'm an AJ.
Was that a heel turn?
It was a heel turn. That was a classic heel turn, because you can't have two baby faces on the same show trying to go for the belt. That usually does not work well. And granted, their match was amazing, which everybody knew it was going to be because they used to wrestle in Japan at the Tokyo Dome all the time, and everybody knew that the match was going to be fantastic. But nobody saw that low blow swerve that Nakamura did, and he played it off.
Expecting something similar to the Asura.
The traditional shake hands, thank you.
Like what we saw with the
and when
particular match, like the hug and the raising the hands.
Yeah, when that low blow happened, that was a turning point, because that just turned Shinsuke Nakamura to a heel right away. That automatically gives him heat, because he's showing bad sportsmanship. So it automatically makes him a heel. But fans nowadays aren't the typical fans that like the faces and don't like the heels. Nowadays, fans like the heels sometimes more than they like the faces.
I want to say probably thanks to Randy Orton in regards to that.
Well, yeah, also thanks to John Cena, because a lot of fans hate John Cena, and John Cena's always been a babyface most of his career.
So, you know what I'm talking about in regards to that.
Exactly.
And, but it was a good match.
It was a fantastic match. Two stellar athletes in their prime, performing and giving it their all on the grandest stage of them all, which is like the Super Bowl to wrestling. And I think that was one of my top three. That
was another 20-minute, at least a 30-minute match.
Yes,
at least.
Kickouts after kickouts after kickouts. And it was like, oh my God, when is it going to end? Who's going to win this thing? And I was pulling for AJ Styles, but I really thought they were going to give it to Nakamura, because I felt that AJ Styles was going to go to Raw in the shakeup. Right,
and this was one of the things that the WWE, for me, they're trying to do new changes. They're trying to go against the former way of doing it, meaning that Orton was always going to be champion, Cena was always going to be champion, and for the titles, it was always the same 2 or 3 people anyway. Now they're trying to at least shake things up with newer, fresher blood. So initially, a lot of people thought it was going to be...
Well, the whole thing with Orton, when he originally won the U.S. title, which was at the previous pay-per-view before Wrestlemania, when he won the U.S. title, everybody had a feeling he was going to win the U.S. title, because that would have made him a Triple Crown champion. Same thing as Seth Rollins when he won the IC title. And again, Randy's been one of my favorites for a long time, amazing competitor, and I just knew that once he won the title, he was going to lose it, because he just needed it once. He's a Triple Crown champion now and doesn't need it anymore. One of those scenarios.
And the final match of the evening or the night, or the longest night, because a lot of people were complaining, oh dear God, it was the pre-show. It would have been a 7-hour match, in essence, Wrestlemania. This was the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match. Now, this prior, I would say not prior, but after our little predictions episode about 2 weeks ago, it kind of came out that Brock Lesnar would be returning to the UFC. This sparked a lot of rumors and a lot of predictions saying that Roman Reigns would be winning the match, because why would he be staying with the WWE? And turns out, well, won. But all in all, before this information came out, both me and Big Kenny chose Brock to win. And let's see here, Nikon chose Roman Reigns, or a surprise finish. Well, it turns out me and Big Candy were right. Brock did win, but
Nick Hunt got a part right, though.
Yeah,
there was a surprise finish.
But the thing is, I think a lot of people, I think we kind of discussed this, it's that secular thing, is that he not only did Brock re-sign with WWE as well.
Yes. And he did it before his match at Wrestlemania. Right. Another thing is that I predicted this match last year at Wrestlemania. Last year, I said next year you'll see Brock versus Roman Reigns, because Vince loves to push Roman. Roman gets pushed constantly, and I said don't be surprised, we're going to see a Brock Roman match next year at Wrestlemania. And everybody was surprised when Roman didn't win the Royal Rumble, and I was ecstatic. But then they had the Hell in a Cell, the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, and then when he won that, I was very disappointed. But at the same time, I knew that Brock was going to lose if he didn't re-sign his contract. As soon as he re-signed his contract, and I knew about it, I was like, yep. As soon as he won that match, I knew that he re-signed his contract. I got online, started looking it up, and I saw that he re-signed the contract before the match. And that's where the match changed. Originally, the outcome was supposed to be Roman Reigns being victorious for the WWE Championship. Now I hear the next match that they're supposed to have is in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it's like
the greatest Royal Rumble event, or something like that. It's going to be Brock versus Roman Reigns in a steel cage. I hear that Brock re-signed a short-term contract, and he is supposed to drop the title to Roman Reigns at the greatest Royal Rumble event.
But there was also a controversy in regards to, not so much a controversy, but kind of an issue with that match, because it was said that after or during that match, Brock went off script.
Yes, he did.
And Vince had
a cow.
A cow. One of his usual cows that
Vince McMahon did a traditional Ric Flair, throwing his coat off and dropping elbows on it.
Or just falling randomly in the ring. But
all you can hear is, oh my God, oh my God. I could hear a Joey Styles coming out of Vince McMahon in the back when Brock takes the gloves off and starts going off script. But Brock is one of those talents that he's such a star power that you can let a guy like that go off script, and it's just going to make for more money and more publicity. And when he went off script and turned Roman Reigns into a pig that looks like it just got sliced open, that was something that made that match more memorable. Had Brock not done that, the match wouldn't have been as memorable.
The thing is, with that, I've heard two things as well. One is that a lot of fans don't like Brock Lesnar because he's that part-time, like you were saying, it's that secular type of issue.
Yeah.
He brings in the money, kind of like John Cena.
Merch sales,
all the time. So they hate him, but they buy the merch, they do everything else. They don't like him as a part-timer. They don't want him to have it anymore. Yet they will sit and come in and watch.
Yes.
And
another thing is that people bitch and moan about Brock being a part-timer. But let's face it, Brock sells. Brock Lesnar, you put Brock Lesnar on a card, he could be gone for a year. He could be gone for a week or a month. If you put Brock Lesnar on a card, tickets are going to sell. Because Brock Lesnar is a huge draw. And Vince knows that. And all the guys in the back know that. And granted, you've got guys that bust their ass every day of the week, and they go do all the live shows, and they do the TV tapings and everything like that. But Brock has established himself to a level that he doesn't need to do that. Do you guys bitch at The Undertaker? as a fan when he does one match a year? One? No. You don't hear nobody bitching about Undertaker doing one match a year. But you bitch at Brock and he does maybe 18 to 20 shows a year. And TV tapings and stuff like that. And some live events. But you won't bitch at the guy that does one. Why? Because you need something to bitch about.
Right.
It's all in that vicious cycle that the fans have to have somebody that they don't like. But the fans don't like Roman Reigns either.
And the reason that was the next thing I was going to get into is that the reason why a lot of some people have speculated the reason why a lot of fans don't like Roman is because they put him at the very last match. That because of something like Wrestlemania being close to 7 hours, by the time they get to Roman Reigns, the energy is not there.
It's not even just that. Part of the reason why the fans don't like Roman Reigns is when Roman started in the WWE on the actual main roster, Roman was a silent, very quiet member of the Shield. He was the muscle. He was the big guy, he was the muscle, and Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins did most of the talking and most of the mouth work. And Roman just came in and did a cleanup. And now that Roman's been on his own, Roman has to do his own mic work. Roman has to do all of his own stuff. And because of that, I feel that Roman Reigns was pushed too fast and too hard to get to be the top guy. And I don't think that he's willing. I don't think he's deserving of it. I don't think he's one of those guys that's going to be... WWE is going to try to make him like the next John Cena. They're going to try to keep him around, have the fans love him. But the point is that the fans hate him. The fans do not like him. His merch does not sell. He's not a top tier talent.
He's not like John Cena, where everybody hates him, but his merch sells like a motherfucker.
Exactly, because he's got a key demography of children 5 to 10 that, mommy, buy me this, mommy, buy me that. Such the Fruity Pebbles comment that we had the other day.
Right, which was coined. It was one of those things that was laughingly coined, if a lot of fans remember, or for those who don't remember, when was it, like 3-4 years ago, something like that?
With The Rock.
With The Rock saying you're a Fruity Pebble. I mean, it passed the comment of, you look like a Fruity Pebble.
Yeah, basically it was The Rock saying, you come out here looking like a giant fucking bowl of Fruity Pebbles.
And Cena just ran with it. And
wound up being on a Fruity Pebbles box right after that.
And the company that
money,
either Kellogg's or Post, whoever makes Fruity Pebbles.
I think it's Post.
Post just went like, can we have John Cena on a box of Fruity Pebbles? And they just ran with it. So it was
and sold the shit out of Fruity Pebbles.
And it was just one of those things like, wow. It was like a win-win scenario for Fruity Pebbles, It's like,
thank you, Rock. It's like, thank you for making us more money.
Yeah. And it was just one of those fun things. And
but even though people do not like Cena, people respect him because he is a decent in-ring performer and he's decent on the microphone. Roman, on the other hand, I've seen him do maybe 2 interviews, like 2 post interviews, and I'm talking about right before WrestleMania, that I was like, wow, he has gotten a lot better on the mic. But at the same time, you watch him in the ring and it's like, Superman punch, spear, okay,
Superman punch, cock it, Superman punch.
Yeah, another one, spear. It's like, okay, do you have any other? Oh wait, no, you got a Samoan drop.
Wait.
It's the Samoan.
John Cena actually has more moves than you. Oh, that's sad.
It's the Samoan drop. Oh, you've got the 3 moves of doom. Congratulations, you're Hulk Hogan.
And the thing is, to kind of use that reference, Roman Reigns doesn't have the charisma on the mic the way that like Hulk Hogan did, or
Cena or Rock, or any of these other guys.
Anybody else?
Seth Rollins. I mean, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose were in the Shield with Roman Reigns, and when I first saw the Shield, I was like, those 2 guys, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, they're going to be huge. I was like, they are amazing. I liked watching
Ambrose
them.
went with the crazy angle a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, just he had personality. He had the personality, the way to kind of twist things and use that for his mic skills.
And he
Same
did.
thing with Seth, not similar with Seth. He's got that push. Like I'm a little bit kind of like the Miz in a way, but like I'm better than you, but I got energy. You know,
let's talk about that for a minute. The Miz,
right?
Here's a guy that started out on MTV,
right,
and doing Real World, and it was like, and then he became a WWE superstar, and everybody was like, "Well, this guy sucks," me included. Okay, I was like, you got this TV celebrity that's coming into wrestling, and how long's he going to last? A year, 2?
Right.
And here he is like 10, 12 years later, and he's one of the greatest superstars WWE's ever had, and he's never been injured. He's a very smart, intelligent worker. He knows the ring and knows how to protect everybody in that ring better than anybody. I mean, he has become just this all-star talent and future Hall of Famer, in my words. He is just amazing. And if you watch the growth of The Miz from beginning to now, you could see how well he's grown on the mic and in the ring, and you get blown away. I mean, he's one of those talents that he can be a face, he could be a heel, he could be in the middle. He could do it all. And he's a decent actor. I've seen some of his movies that he's done. I'm not going to say he's an A-list actor like he claims to be, but he's damn close. I mean, he's pretty good at what he does, and he reminds me of The Rock. He reminds me of The Rock in a lot of ways, and I really hope the best for him. And I have actually met Mike Mizanin on multiple occasions. I used to be friends with him on Facebook until he got rid of his Facebook and changed it. But he is a really, really super guy outside of character. Very level-headed, very low-key, down-to-earth person. Someone you could talk to, have a beer with, or have dinner with, and it's not uncomfortable.
And seeing the Hall of Fame, not so much the Hall of Fame. I didn't watch the Hall of Fame inductee. I heard it was, again, one of these 5-hour marathon watching type of deals.
It was long.
That I was watching the highlights during Wrestlemania, like most people that missed the Hall of Fame, and you had, I'm not sure about that. Again, that had to be 10-year-old kid that was inducted. Was he Make-A-Wish?
Yes, he was. JJ Watson,
I think. Yeah. And he was having a blast anyway.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I wasn't sure. I figured he was Make-A-Wish. I'm not holding that against him, but if he was, let him have that little moment in the sun. And
he got the He got the Warrior Award for power and excellence and like kind of striving through things.
Right, and he's just standing up the stage, just dancing his little head off, and let him. It's like, let him. He's having fun.
My big moment of the Hall of Fame.
I like when they were showing his little speech, and he gave his favorite wrestler, and he said, "My least favorite is this person." And like everyone, like, oh,
yeah, it was the Miz.
It was Miz.
It was the Miz, of course.
Let him have a little 1-2 shot. Screw it.
Miz is like, oh,
come on. You gotta let him have that 1-2 shot. What are you do?
And congratulations to the Miz on his birth of his daughter too, because him and Maurice just had their daughter.
Well, it was one of the things that
they were thanking God that it happened early enough that he didn't have to miss WrestleMania.
Right, and it was one of those things that a lot of people were speculating that he would lose that particular match because he wanted to spend more time with his baby.
But he was supposed to see originally his daughter was supposed to be born on that Friday or Saturday, and they were expecting him to miss WrestleMania. And when she was born on the Tuesday, he was able to be there for the birth of his daughter, spend some time with his family, and make it to WrestleMania.
So that was nice, and that was pretty much it. So let's kind of, if we may, cover a few extra little things.
Boom, boom.
I know you don't really follow our little show that much, but recent news has put out, at least on our front, we kind of mentioned this gentleman many times before on our program throughout the past several years that we've been broadcasting, and especially through our previous podcast, The Electric Eye, and that is Art Bell, and him being the father of Coast to Coast. As of this recording, we found out today, earlier Saturday morning, that he has passed away. We do not know exactly what from. As soon as we do, we will let you know. And at the end of this at the end of this podcast, I'll probably include a little bit of a snippet of one of his classic moments of many years ago that we probably used on a previous episode. And if not, something from Mel's Hole, I'll dig something up and I'll attach it right before the closing music that we usually put up. So that would be that. He was one of these aspects that, unlike George Norrie, that a lot of people started listening when they started listening to Coast, they started listening with Art Bell. And Art was the type of person that no matter how crazy you were, how much of a drugged up trucker you were, he'd be that kind of that skeptic a little bit, and that person that would actually listen to you, that he kind of knew the fact that you probably needed somebody to talk to, especially at like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard. And he helped not only create Coast to Coast AM, but what he did is he helped a lot of people stay away from suicide, because many people have wrote to him in Coast to Coast saying that if it wasn't for his broadcast, they would have done something stupid. And he helped. He did that. He was that type of person, whereas George Norrie would kind of kid you a little bit and kind of... I'm not saying George did that all the time, but in some ways that it felt that he kind of put down the person calling in. So Art had that kind of more of a, all right, have you tried this? Have you done this? What makes this so special? Oh, really? And he'd let them feed their own fire instead of him feeding the fire.
I just saw that he passed away earlier today. I think you were the one that shared it.
And that sort of thing. It was just that voice in the night that, and one of the things I remember, because I was a Coast to Coast subscriber, which meant that you were able to download the shows after they aired. And me working graveyard shift, not really having time to listen as it aired on a good signal, downloading them after the fact and listening to them while I mowed the lawn or what have you. And one of the days that I was listening to his show, when he was on air, he was broadcasting out of his home in Pahrump, Nevada. And he said, we almost lost the show. Let me tell you why. One of my cats jumped on the board and hit a couple of buttons that would have shut us down for a better part of the night.
Damn cat.
And he said complete laughter in his voice, and it was just one of those things that when I was heavily listening, that his first wife passed away while they were traveling because she had severe case of asthma, and she passed away in the case of getting to her medication to help with that. And it was something completely out of his control. Even the cops, of course, have to investigate, make sure everything's on the up and up and not really unjustified, that he didn't do anything wrong.
Obviously.
He said the way she was found and everything, it wasn't your fault. It was asthma related. She was obviously trying to get her medication. And because she was of Filipino descent, he didn't really want to move on without her family's permission.
Yeah.
And they're the ones, according to him, said, yeah, we want you to move on. We respect that you have honor for our family, that you didn't want to do this. By the way, we have somebody in mind. They're like, we have somebody in mind. And he fell in love again with someone from the Philippines, and they got married. They had as far as I know, they had one daughter. I don't know if they had another child after that, but as far as I know, he is succeeded by a wife and child. He tried to get the child was born here in the States, so therefore it's a natural citizen. Just that he had an issue when I stopped listening for a while. He had an issue of trying to get his wife naturalized
citizenship.
Naturalized citizenship. A lot of the paperwork went missing for a while, and so forth and so on. And because of that whole issue, he went to the Philippines to live with her there, and have the daughter realize her heritage as part Filipino. And because of connection issues, there was problems with the folks who owned or ran Coast to Coast and him. There was a falling out, and he walked away from the folks that kind of ran Coast to Coast, or bought it from him and ran it for him. And he later years, like 2 years ago, he tried starting it up again, or a version of what he used to do, and it just didn't work out. And from what I heard, there was, or might have allegedly, for those of you playing at home, every time I say allegedly, take a drink. Allegedly he was being stalked by somebody, and therefore that's one of the reasons why he didn't really start everything up again, for the fear of safety of his wife and child, or wife and kids. So there's that. And as a
was it the Bay City Butcher that was?
No,
Sorry, Dexter pun. Had to put it in there.
Oh, let's see here. One thing we did see, at least I saw Ready Player One today, as of this recording. Now, was it the greatest thing ever? No, it was a decent movie. It paralleled the book a little bit, but not as close as I would have liked. Let me put it like this: it skewed away from the book, not as badly as World War Z did. Let me put it like that. But it didn't hover close to the book like Harry Potter did. Even though Harry Potter, the movies were different than the books, but there were a lot of stuff in the movies that were very close to the books.
Speaking of Harry Potter, I heard they're doing the new movie based on the book. I overheard that.
Well, I've been hearing things too. As soon as a lot more information.
Yeah, I heard they're doing that. They're doing that movie. It's supposed to come out in like 2019, summer of 2019 or something.
And there was a lot of Easter eggs. There's a lot of in the book. There, part of one of the challenges that they had to go through was reenact the movie, line for line, which means that you played a character. Meaning if you. I think one of the challenges, the person who played Arthur in Monty Python's Holy Grail, you had to say each one of that particular character's lines. You had to be that character. Pretty much you had to know that script inside and out.
Okay.
And instead of that, it was more closely to, we're going to do Stanley Kubrick's Shining. We're going to include that instead. It was a lot of stuff was completely different. The first challenge to earn the first key, so to speak, was not anything remotely like what it was in the book. In the book, it was you played 1-on-1 against the person holding the key in a game of joust. This was a giant race, and there were a lot of. It separated a little bit, but there was a shit ton of Easter eggs. I don't think because of A Quiet Place came out last week. Rampage came out this week.
Yeah.
From what I hear, Rampage is not going to hit the number 1 spot. It'll definitely be in the number 2 spot, but A Quiet Space will probably retain the number 1 spot. But the thing is, with Ready Player One, if it doesn't really succeed in theaters, it will so in either the digital or the DVD market because of all the it had a shit ton of Easter eggs in it.
I want to see it. I've seen the trailers for it, and it looks good.
It is. There is literally a shit ton of Easter eggs. Everything you might see in the movies and think it's probably a little bit different than what you think. But there's a shit ton of Easter eggs. A lot of nods to... You actually would probably have to watch it several times on video and pause it to catch it all. And there's even some audio Easter eggs that a lot of people, even the younger generation, will not pick up on. You might pick up on. Have you ever seen Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories?
Yeah.
Do you remember the theme song?
Yep.
You do hear it.
Oh, it's in there?
It's in there. You hear...
I remember seeing the guy around the campfire with the books flying around the night.
But you hear... If you remember the theme song, you do hear that. It's almost faint, but you hear it.
I used to watch it all the time. It was on Saturday nights.
It was during the Saturday afternoons where I lived. It was one of those...
Mine was on... Amazing Stories was on Saturday nights. It was usually on late at night. And that's usually when I watched. It was like 10 o'clock at night on like a Saturday or a Sunday.
For me, it was Amazing Stories, Monsters, and the Twilight Zone reboot in the 80s was all like Saturday afternoons for me. All of it. It was like Saturday afternoons.
I love that monster show.
It was cheesy as hell.
But it was fantastic.
Right. And
it was like more of a revamped Tales from the Crypt. Or Tales from the Dark Side, sorry.
And I think I met one of the guys that worked on it as the special effects. They said they were limited to 4 people. No, literally, it had to be four characters on the whole thing. 4 characters. It had to be like 4 main... There were no extras. It only had to be 4 people. 4 actors in the whole thing. Believe it or not.
That's amazing, though, because that show was great for only having 4 actors. Think about all the amazing stuff they did back then for that TV show. Only having 4 people, that's pretty amazing. But it was great. Just like Tales from the Dark Side. Look at Tales from the Dark Side. All the years it ran, and usually I would watch Tales. That's what I watched, Tales from the Dark Side, and then after Tales from the Dark Side would be Amazing Stories. And that's usually what I watch, or Monsters. They would be kind of in a run.
Right.
And Amazing Stories was always at the end of the run, and sometimes I would fall asleep or just be like, I don't really feel like watching this tonight. But I used to love watching the show sometimes because they would do... Amazing Stories had a couple jabs towards Tales from the Dark Side and Monsters in some of their episodes. And
There'd always be something like that. They were always jabby.
Yeah. It was fantastic,
or
though.
they all team up and jab Twilight Zone or something like that. And it was just a fun watch, nonetheless.
And Walking Dead having an Easter egg for X-Files in it, and nobody knew.
I have to watch this season. I'll power watch it when it...
No, this is back like the 3rd or 4th season.
I might have missed it. I don't remember. There's
a type of cigarettes that I actually found this out via my Walking Dead trivia game yesterday when I was playing with a friend. There's a jab. There's a homage actually to X-Files in one of the Walking Dead episodes via a brand of cigarettes that Daryl smokes in one of the episodes, and it's actually the same cigarettes that the smoking man from one of the X-Files episodes was smoking. Same pack, same brand, everything.
So in essence, if you want to continue the theory, so not only is The Walking Dead in the same universe as Breaking Bad, but also in the same universe as the X-Files.
Yeah, now that's a mindfuck right there.
Ain't that a mindfuck?
Somebody's high on meth.
It's like the whole aspect of the initial cartoon back in the late 90s reboot when they kind of jabbed at X-Files in a way. And
didn't they remake that?
Yeah, it's on Netflix, and it has nothing to, as far as I've seen one episode, it has nothing to do with the original. They made it a kind of a cross between VR Troopers and Power Rangers. and from what I've seen, some of the people and some of the reviews that actually watched the complete series, they kind of do finally make in later episodes homage to the original run, but it's more of insulting the original fan base.
Oh no!
Calling them they meaning that they show the original mainframe unit, and it has a mainframe on it, and the character goes, "Wow, look at this old mainframe! It looks so retro." And they make fun of the original fans, saying that how they still live with their parents in the parents' basements, and they're big nerds, and they do go back to where the diner, in essence, the diner is. And, like, it has everything that made the original reboot cool.
Did you take offense to that?
I took offense. If I watched it, I probably would have.
Hey. I really thought I really thought that Netflix would have tried to reboot some of the older shows like Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad or Beetleborgs.
Oh, that would have been funny.
Even VR Troopers.
Big bad Beetleborgs. In essence, the Power Rangers want to be, but big bad Beetleborgs.
Cheap knockoff children Power Rangers.
And let's see. What else we got? We'll get back. But I do recommend, if you guys watch it, read the book as well, because it's a quick read, it's a fun read, and it explains a little bit more, and there's a lot more in the book. In one aspect, it is the gals that in essence, help save Wade Watts. In the aspect where in the movie it's kind of reversed, and that's where a lot of complaints are coming from now, is that it's a lot on the show here. Just to let you know, we do touch on the whole social commentary and how stupid it is. They go back in the aspect of, it's so white. And it's, like, wait a minute, in the book and in the movie, there's one character that is, in essence, African-American, female, and that person is pretty much a lesbian.
So they cover all their bases.
So, in essence, he covers his bases, but the twist in the book is that you don't realize this, because the person that Wade is talking to, the kind of aspect of, he thinks that he's talking to a guy, a fellow person. He doesn't realize that he's talking to
a woman,
and until later, and it's kind of like, but it's like he has no qualms with it. He's just like, but it takes him a little bit to like, but I thought you were, no, I told you that here, in regards to the person you fell in love with, that we're all avatars. We could be anything. It's like you have to be careful.
You've got to do. I mean, they've done that before in movies too, where they switch.
No, in the book it was like that, but it was the aspect of. In the book, it was more of a surprise than it kind of was in the movie.
Yeah,
but it was more well done in the book, if you can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And
books always tend to have more detail than the movies. Well, on most part, unless you're Stephen King and you want to do like an 8-hour movie. Right. But that's beside the point. But Stephen King's movies are usually A+ because they're usually TV mini movies, and they usually go 2 hours for 5 days. And so he's able to expand it more. When you're doing a movie for theaters, you only have 2 hours, 3 at the max usually, to get everything out that you got to. And to do a book, there's a lot, and you're going to miss things.
And because you're kind of got to move things along a little bit, and because you're kind of a comic geek, in recent news we've had several reports come out from the camp of Lee, so to speak, Stan Lee, and some of them saying that there's been elder abuse and long-standing problems that Stan Lee's been having since the end of last year. In reference to the reason why I say that is because at the end of last year there was several reports in regards to money missing and him theft of funds. So
okay, so I'm sure you've seen the video that he came out with.
I'm leading up to that, and earlier this year it came out that there was so-called sexual harassment from his nurses, allegedly. Take a drink. And recently, last week or two, it was mostly elder abuse. That there have been people kind of nudging him to sign stuff, do things that he doesn't really agree with. And mostly it's his daughters and so forth and so on trying to milk him for money.
Okay.
So the claims allegedly say. And
Take a drink.
And a couple of days ago, he meaning Stanley, came out with a video saying that these reports are false, that he has a great relationship with his daughters, and these are all lies, and he'll be filing lawsuits with those who are spreading these lies.
Yes, and the friend that was also accused was the one taking the video at the time. Now, my question is that's cool and all, but does the person on the other side of that camera, do they have a gun to your head while you're saying this?
That's why a lot of people in the video, when it was posted, were saying that...
Because that sounded very scripted.
That he was reading a script, that he was being, in essence, pressured to say this. And... to
get them off their back.
Right.
And I felt that too, because that video felt very scripted. It did feel like it was scripted and he was reading cue cards. And if you notice his eye movements, he actually looks like he's like moving his eyes to look at cue cards when he's reading stuff off.
Right. That's what a lot of people were saying, that he was reading a script. And the thing is, this wasn't the only thing that kind of came out. A lot of people were saying that when they were seeing him at events, that he looked... This was besides the pneumonia.
Okay.
That he looked way out of it for some strange reason.
Medication, maybe. I mean...
Not just the medication. That the people that were his handlers were in essence telling him how to write his own name. There were various videos out there in reference to showing that it's like you're supposed to. It's Stanlee. That's what you put on there.
That he couldn't even write his own name.
Right. And what another company came out was in regards to prices that Stanley was... The company, or at least the people that... For those who go to shows, a lot of celebrities charge for the autographs. And
I don't agree with.
This is for various... I've heard various reasons in regards to why. And instead of it being a simple or reasonable fee, the fees have went from maybe $60 to $80 to currently, I've heard over the past couple of years, well over $100, if not more, depending on the particular show that you go to.
And here's the thing, and I've spoke with you about this in the past, right. And I feel that you're going to an event. You're paying to be at the event. You are paying a fee to get in that door to see these people. That should be included in your fee. So getting an autograph should be included in your fee. I mean, these guys are millionaires. Let's be honest. They are not people that are struggling. I mean, you do got some of the up-and-comers, like the cosplayers and stuff, they're still up-and-coming and they're trying to make a living. That's fine. I get that. But you've got people that are that are like big actors that are in movies and TV shows, and people like Stan Lee and Mark Hamill, for instance, that they're rich beyond their wildest dreams. They have so much money they don't know what to do with it all. And for them to charge $60 to $100 for someone to sign someone's property or to sign a photograph is ridiculous when you're spending $40 to $50 to get in the door. Do you not agree?
I do agree with that, and some of the things the reason why I say it's varied, depending on which promoter you talk to, and which promotional company is dealing with that particular celebrity.
Yeah,
and meaning that you're paying the promoters depending on what the promoter will tell you. I have to speak with Matt with whether or not he's willing to give up that information or not. That's up to Matt. But from what I've heard in the past, you're paying the guarantee that person's going to be that draw for your show. You're helping pay for that guarantee. If they do not make that, meaning that, let's say Mark Hamill is going to be part of the show.
Okay.
They're going to say, well, if you're going to be guaranteeing that he's going to get, let's lowball 100 signatures.
Okay.
Therefore, if he doesn't make that 100 signatures, we want a guarantee fee.
But another thing is that
we get so much.
These venues have to pay these people to show. They have to pay. Like, for instance, just like a wrestling match. If you have an independent promotion, let's just say, Joe Blow's wrestling industry, not a real industry, obviously, and they want to have Mick Foley show up at their show, they have to pay him a booking fee to come to the show, and then he'll sign autographs, and he'll wrestle on the show, and he'll be part of the show, right? They're getting a guaranteed fee from the person that's running the venue. Same thing that goes with these autograph people. They're giving these actors and celebrities are coming to these shows because they're getting a guaranteed fee. And then on top of the guaranteed fee, they're also getting their signature fees and their merch fees on top of that. So they're getting more money. And I just don't feel that it's right that they're sucking the fans dry of funds. I just don't think that it's a touchy subject with me.
Yeah, it is. The aspect of, like I said, I've heard various stories, differing wildly, and I can understand that if I went to a show, like back in the day, I'm talking about close to 20 years ago. This is before I started noticing that they were charging for autographs. That if I wanted a photo of let's use your example, Mick Foley, or an autograph, I'd pay for it. Granted, if I didn't have something for him to sign and he had photos, I'd pay whatever the photo was. And the signature came with it.
Okay, and here's another thing. I used to have a place in Brooklyn, New York, where I'm originally from. We had a place that was called Funtime USA. It was a gaming place, 3 stories high. Every month, their draw was that they would have a WWF/E superstar that would come, and they would advertise, and it would be free autographs. And that wrestler or whoever was coming would come, and they would hand you a free 8x10, black and white usually, and they would autograph it for you. And it was nice. They were nice glossy photos, and they would autograph it for you for free. No fee. And they weren't like, they weren't bum wrestlers either. They were big key wrestlers. Undertaker and Paul Bearer, Bret Hart, the Legion of Doom, Sonny. And when Sonny came, Sonny was there with Chris Candido, who is deceased now, obviously, but when she came, she was with him. So everybody in line that's waiting to get these autographs is chanting ECW when they came in. I mean, and we would have 500 to 1,000 people in line, and we would wait for hours and hours to get that free autograph, but we didn't pay anything. And Psycho Sid was another one that showed up. Triple H showed up, and he came with Rick Rude and China. They were specials. They came, it was supposed to be Triple H, and Triple H showed up with China and Ravishing Rick Rude as a surprise.
The thing is, like I said, one of the stories that I think you folks at home, look it up. It's our good versus evil panel that we did, I think 2 years ago maybe, at one of the Four States events when we had Vernon Wells and 2 Power Rangers and 2 of the main villains. It was, I think Vernon Wells was part of that panel, and what he was telling us was when he was first going to a lot of the Power Rangers conventions, he wasn't charging. He wasn't charging any for any.
You're talking about the Morphicons?
Yeah,
the Power Morphicons?
The different Power Ranger conventions. He wasn't charging. He was just signing autographs. Anybody, he wasn't. He got yelled at by everybody else at the shows. And a lot of shows that he was showing up at because he wasn't charging. And they said, you better start charging now or else. We're losing money because of you. Because he wasn't, everybody was going to him for the autographs and nobody else. They weren't making any money. So he just said, like, all right. So he started charging like $5.
Why are you going to just, why are you going to knock somebody down that's trying to do something, give back to the fans? We are the people that make you your money. We're the ones that make your money. We're the ones that buy your shirts. We're the ones that buy your merchandise, your toys, your games, your TV shows, your DVDs. We're the ones that make you who you are. Without us, you're just another person, and you're not going to make nothing. And a lot of actors and actresses, and I feel like they've gotten away from that, and they're more about greed and money instead of giving back to the fans like they always used to. Used to be when you went to New York City Comic Con, for instance. It used to be when you went to New York City Comic Con, you paid that fee, one flat fee, and you went in and you could go to the different tables and the panels and stuff, and you can get autographs. And you didn't pay because you have to pay like $100 fee to get in. But that was your fee. You're paying that, and you had like 1,000 people paying that, and that's a lot of money.
Right.
And they would turn around, and that was like one day of the 3 that they had. And then they would turn around, and all those people that were there as panel people all get paid. They get a check. Like, we're going to give you this much to be here for this day, this much for this day, and this much for this day. And they sign a contract, and they get paid. Otherwise, if they're not going to get paid, they're not going to show. Because why would you show on a whim that you're going to sell 100 autographs? You won't.
Somehow along the line, somebody got greedy. Who it was
started a trend, and it became something evil.
Let's take the aspect of The Walking Dead, because for the time being, it's still a popular show.
Somewhat, yes.
Or any show that's currently popular on TV, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, anything on the CW, Star Trek, whatever. They see that it could be the producers, it could be the network themselves, that we could get more money from the fans if we charge for the autographs.
It takes one person. Yeah. If one celebrity stands up and says, I'm not going to keep robbing our fans of their money. They work hard for their money, and they buy our stuff already. Why are we going to keep raping them, pretty much, of their funds? Because if we take their funds for our autographs, that's less money that they can buy our merchandise. We're taking money from them from buying our merchandise. So in essence, yes, we're getting their money, but at the same time, we're hurting them and hurting ourselves because our merchandise isn't selling as fast.
And this is one of the things that it was the artist that sold the Mrs. J print.
Yeah.
He was telling us that me and Big Candy went at Fortnight when we went, that a couple of his people were telling him at certain events, price gouge. Because this is what he said. He said, I keep my prices cheap because there are a lot of the fans that come to see him are working class. They might not have enough money. They might have the $200 to buy one of his big page art pieces. But for the most part, they might have only $10, $20 to spend. So therefore, he keeps his prints within that price range, so he can keep his fan base. He said, but there are a lot of events that where he goes to, there are the higher level of fans,
yes,
where they have more money, better. Where like here in Martinsburg and Hagerstown, majority of the people only have maybe $10, $15 to spend, or $20 to spend. whereas a place like Newark, New Jersey, like New York City, or Philadelphia, or Pittsburgh, they have maybe $50 to spend,
or $100,
or $100. So he kind of adjusts his prices, and a lot of people adjust their prices for that market.
Yes, and I understand that can be seen as right, but at the same time, it's still wrong. You need to keep a flat price. Have a flat price. Charge for your. You got artwork. Right. You're drawing it. You're putting your passion into something. That's something you want to charge for. That I understand. But if someone wants you to sign it, don't charge them for that. It's your autograph. You're putting your name on something that you drew, that you put your heart into. You shouldn't have to charge for signing a piece of paper.
And the thing is, like, what he was telling us is like, see that? Because I picked up that Thanos sketch that he did. He said, even though that's a one-of-a-kind piece, I can do that day in and day out. Yeah. That's easy. That's nothing for me. So for me to charge you $20 for that little sketch, even though it's not really unique for you, it's something special for you. And so therefore, $20 is nothing.
Yeah.
So, let's see, what else can we... For the time being, we have... Do you play Fortnite at all?
Yeah, slightly. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about the comet.
Yeah. I want to see if you want to talk about the comet. That might be hitting. I'll say that for Big Candy, because he's more of the big-time Fortnite player.
Yeah, April 18th is supposed to hit.
We'll see when that hits.
I've heard rumors.
Too. I've been hearing rumors that it's been tied to the mysterious voicemail that was going around a couple of weeks ago.
I heard two big rumors. One of them said that the comet was going to give the players superpowers. I don't know.
I try playing the battle royale. I'm killed like freaking instantly. I don't have any weapons, and everybody else has like guns and shit. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I heard the superpower thing, and then I also heard that the comet's going to take out 3/4 of the map.
Right.
And kill anybody that's on it.
Well, we'll see what happened. Whatever happens on April 18th, which is this, will take place after the show's drop. Therefore, we'll hopefully next week, when Big Candy's feeling better, we will be talking about what happened in Fortnite this past week. And this past week, we found out that despite Season 2, not watching Season 2 yet, Jessica Jones was renewed for Season 3. So, you happy about that?
Of course. Jessica Jones, I feel, is one of the underrated Marvel shows. And I think it's a very good show. Season 2 so far, I'm halfway through, and I so far it's leading up to a good season. I feel it's going to have a really nice ending to the season, a really nice cap off by the way that they're doing it.
Next up, quickly, we're kind of running through.
Daredevil.
I don't mean to kind of to speed things along or do a rapid fire, but a lot of these topics that I'm bringing up for Joe to comment and talk about quickly.
Secret Wars.
They're kind of quick topics anyway. So next up, quickly, is Billy Mitchell stripped of his Donkey Kong title, and he's pretty much banned.
I saw that.
So. Pretty much, this has been going around. They kind of made it official.
You stripped the nerd of his Donkey Kong title. That's so terrible. He was like, he'd be mimicking the playing, and it'll be shown on a different screen. That's how he kind of passed things off. And so it wasn't him actually playing,
right?
So who was playing?
What he was showing was an emulator because you could score high. He said that you could always score higher on an emulator than on an actual cabinet game. Really? So what he'd show on screen was the emulation game going off, and he'd say that what is being displayed on screen is what he's doing on the cabinet. But it's actually an emulator in the cabinet. No, it's an emulator that meaning that he, in essence, was faking it on the cabinet while the emulator was going on.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's pretty much what was going on. And so he was stripped of everything.
Oh, no.
So everything, he's no longer allowed to be anywhere, or a lot of it is his claim to fame in regards to Donkey Kong is gone.
That sucks. Back to the drawing board, Billy.
Back to the drawing board for that. And, okay, that's that.
Better buy a Donkey Kong cabinet and try working your butt off again.
And a lot of things that, despite, because you're a big DC fan, in reference to show-wise, anyway.
Oh, yeah.
It turns out everything on the CW has been renewed, despite, for the most part, every show being half going in ratings, going downhill, for whatever. For the exception of, the ironic thing of it is that for the first half of the season, every show, Supergirl, even I don't know about Legends of Tomorrow, but Supergirl, Flash,
Arrow.
No, it was like every other, for the exception of maybe, because it wasn't really out yet, was DC Legends of Tomorrow and Black Arrow.
Black Lightning?
Black Lightning. Everything was like bad ratings. They were almost half.
Well, Black Lightning was a new show, so of course they were going to have a little bit higher of a thing.
But
another thing is
but the only two shows that didn't really show a significant downfall was Arrow and Supernatural. Everything else was like halved.
See, and Legends of Tomorrow, we talked about this earlier, but Legends of Tomorrow originally was, everybody thought was going to be the tank show, and it actually succeeded at the raising the bar. And when Constantine came on the show, that raised their ratings tremendously.
Yeah, they were thinking that for the most part that they were hoping that Legends of Tomorrow would not be canceled because they wanted to bring Constantine back.
And I believe Legends ratings actually surpassed all the other shows when Constantine came back.
Yeah, that's right. Legends of Tomorrow did start roughly the same time as everybody else. And I had it pretty much out with several people online in regards to why the ratings were tanking, is because the writers were kind of shoving things down the viewer's throat that they might not have wanted no matter what. And he said the person pretty much got in my face on Facebook anyway, saying that, well, if you're against it, then you're, this racist, anti-LGBT. Like, so in essence, you're telling me if someone is a person of color and part of the LGBTQ community, and they hate what's going on these shows, they are also racist and against LGBT community,
even though they are a part of it.
Even though they are part of it. Oh, that's not the case. Shut up.
Yeah, no comment.
No comment. How dare you insult my intelligence? I'm not insulting your intelligence. I'm stating fact. And
we're stating the fact that we did not like the way that the show turned because of something that happened, and it. I don't mind the show. I think the show has had a good run so far.
Right. To me, it's like I liked Supergirl. And
in the beginning.
Especially like season 2, especially this current season, I kind of stepped away from it.
Season 1 was actually very good. And
the reason why I stepped away is because they were, to me, I'm not putting against anything. It's just that they seemingly were concentrating so much on her sister's love life than Supergirl. It wasn't Supergirl. It was all about her sister and her.
Well, the
life.
Legends actually did the same thing with the captain and the other one
at the end, but it was more. It wasn't kind of in your face the way Supergirl was.
No.
That's why I kind of complimented the Legends of Tomorrow, because it was kind of off to the side a little bit. They also did it with
Captain Cold. Also, when they brought him back from the from the other alternate universe,
Right.
the multiverse, he was actually LGBT also.
Yeah, he's that way in real life.
Yes, yes.
But what I was saying is that Legends of Tomorrow, they kind of know the proper mixture
Yes.
to do it just right, where it's there, but you're not noticing it.
So the writers are different for all the shows then.
I guess so.
That makes sense, but at the same time, it's kind of weird. I mean, they should be the same writers. But then again, Kevin Smith steps in and does Flash episodes.
Right.
And his episodes are usually rated very high when he comes in and does them.
Speaking of which, I don't think you're not. His Flash episode was, I think, this past week.
I didn't see it yet.
He does make him and Jason Mewes do make a appearance in it. And it's kind of like they're security guards, but it's like their characters.
Jay and Silent Bob security guard.
Yeah. And it reminds you of
Stoner
their characters.
Stoner
they weren't
security.
stoners, but Kevin Smith's character was completely silent. In essence, the silent Bob and Jay's character is completely the loud, like, how dare you? Why did you do this? This is just the old Jay being Jay, and just kind of showing those characters.
Yeah, his episodes. I think he's done 3 now.
Yeah, he's done at least one Supergirl, and his daughter was in it.
I thought he did 3. I think he's done 3 Flash.
He might have done 3 Flash.
This is the third one.
I know he's done at least one Supergirl.
But the ones that he does, I haven't seen the one he's most recently done, but the past ones that I've seen that he's done, the ratings seem higher on those episodes, and I've watched them, and they seem like they're better. So why not maybe have Kevin Smith come and maybe help write for the show permanently?
My thing is the way the Hollywood tends to be is the whole aspect of we want to please the fans, but we don't want to please. We'd rather please the 3 fans that want their special little things instead of the 7 other fans that will actually give us more money.
As long as they don't do the Joss Whedon.
Which is?
Mine.
mine. We were kind of discussing this before the show. That there's a whole aspect of the Warner Brothers tends to do this to themselves. And that's the whole aspect of mine. Because you have the TV aspect of things. So like, you see what they're trying to do with Supergirl, DC, the TV set of things. And you have the movie set and the folks who are doing the movies don't want the folks doing the TVs to bring in additional characters. And it's like, no, they're ours. You can't touch those characters. They're ours. Oh, you had a successful run in regards to Deathstroke. Oh, you can't have him anymore because he's going to be in the movies now. So sorry. So... And that's why you only have Bruce Wayne in the shows in name only.
Yeah, and another thing is Gotham's been doing an amazing job. That's another show that we haven't touched on, but Gotham has been doing an amazing job, and I am actually excited to see what happens when it comes back with Jerome, a.k.a. the Joker.
Yeah, I've been hearing good things. I kind of missed out on the season. I haven't been following the season.
My goodness. He is the character they portray as the Joker, aka Jerome, in the show, has been an amazing actor and an amazing Joker. He has played that part to the T, and he's got the craziness that we look for in a Joker, but he also has the wits and the smarts and the brains and the look even that we want as a Joker. So I could see him playing a Joker in a movie. In an actual full-length Batman movie, but I don't think they're going to allow that to happen because he's doing the show.
As long as he's doing a good job and bang-up job for it.
Yeah, and the gentleman that plays Bruce Wayne, another stellar. I mean, the actors in the show are amazing, right. And the show has not gotten boring or stale, and it's on its 4th season, and It's still doing very strong.
But what I think is funny, or would think is funny, in regards to the CW aspect of things, there are 2 things I would love to see happen in the one in Arrow, one in DC, Legends of Tomorrow,
All the CW shows go to the theater and go to the DCEU.
and therefore make more money than the actual movies.
Yes.
Yeah, that's number 3.
Rib.
But for
It's a
DC, for Legends of Tomorrow, someone approached Palmer and asked him, this current, like, who do you think you are? Some sort of Superman? And walk off.
Damn. You're doing a Superman Returns pun.
Yeah.
Kevin James.
I would love to see it. I would love to see it. Come on, honest. Would you love to see something like that? A Superman pun.
Yes.
Directed at him.
What if they go to a multiverse and they have him as Superman?
I would laugh my ass off.
And they look at each other in the Atom suit and the Superman suit, and they walk away.
Kind of like the whole every fan wanted to during Avengers would want to see someone go like, no shit, Sherlock, and have both Doctor Strange and Iron Man just kind of look at each other.
I just want to see them go to a multiverse and say we have to find Ray's alternate personality, and they're looking for Ray's alternate personality, and in flies Superman,
just
and
does the Superman thing,
and it's like, and you hear Ray on the thing saying, "I think I found him," and everybody comes in, and Superman's just kind of floating there in front of him. And it's dramatic pause from everybody. Like,
The other thing I would love to see, it would be very obscure, is from in Arrow, is what's his name who plays the deputy mayor? You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about.
I do.
Him saying, "Why don't I just grab?" Him pass a comment and say, "Why don't I just grab a hockey stick and cast a spell?" It's obscure. Die-hard fans would know. The die-hard fans would know.
Well, look at the guy that's in Team Arrow that looks like Casey Jones.
Like, not so much that, but they did do that remark. It's like hockey. He made the comment like, "There's something about hockey masks, how cool they are," and because they're all in that elevator, and just he gives that look, big grin, like everybody knows that he was Casey Jones. It was like that. That's what I want to see from him. It's like, why don't I just grab a hockey stick and just make some magic?
And
just wander off.
And another thing we were talking about was Deathstroke, and Deathstroke in the show is amazing, but Deathstroke in the movies, I from the little bit that I've seen of him, he looks fantastic. I mean, he looks the part big time. Next question is the DCEU going to screw that up as well? Because they screw everything else up.
Right.
The only thing that they have not screwed up yet is Wonder Woman.
Right.
That is the one main thing that they have not messed up yet.
Like I said, the thing is, they haven't really screwed up. You see occasionally Superman show up in Supergirl, but it's kind of like...
Good actor, too.
Yeah, he's done a bang-up job. He does a good job.
He looks the part, too.
Looks the part. But they kind of, granted, it's Supergirl. They use Superman as sparingly as possible.
I think they should. They think they should bring them into the DCEU, and I've been saying this since they started doing the Justice League movie. I was not happy with the fact that they are using a different Flash in the Justice League movie, because I feel that the Barry Allen that we watch on TV should transcend into the movie universe.
And I'm going to have to kind of agree with you there. The kind of the movie universe Flash is more timid, more
quirky.
Kind of like off-putting a little bit, socially awkward. Whereas the Barry Allen in the series is more
Flash.
It's more Flash. That I'll still. What do I got to do? Oh, lightning! Hit somebody, really fat. I'll do that. Yet the Flash that we have in the movie is kind of like
I don't know if I could do that.
I don't know if I could do that. And it's that whole. You would have gotten a little bit more laughs if it was the TV Barry Allen that fell on Wonder Woman. You would have gotten that same awkwardness, and the same level of humor, but it would have been better, more.
Plus, you got to think you have the fan base on the shows already.
Right.
if you would have taken the fan base from the shows and it would have flipped and went to the movie scene, you would have gotten more people to come watch it if you would have had the same actors and actresses from the shows and you put them in the movies. And I'm going to stay with that. Marvel, I believe, from what I've heard, their TV universe and their movie universe has crossovers. I know that they had one with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Sam Jackson in the first season.
Yeah, but the excuses that I'll say, main excuse from what I heard in regards to that is that there's a different pacing, that if they brought Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to the movie universe, it'd screw things up with the movie universe.
They've done that already. Look at all the Punishers they've done. How many Punishers have we had? We had Dolph Lundgren. We had Thomas Jane. Then we had Ray Stevenson. And now we got John Berthel, who's fantastic at Punisher, by the way, if you have not seen it yet.
I've seen the current
the
Netflix version.
He's amazing. Great Punisher. Fantastic. But we've had 4 Punishers. In a span of like 30 years, we've had 4 Punishers.
But what they're pretty much saying is that if it's TV, it's TV. We can't mingle what's with the TV in the movies. We can hint
why
of the TV what's happening in the movies, but we can't do vice versa.
But why?
We can't actually mingle.
Because they have not done anything in the movie universe, currently, with any of the characters that are in the TV universe.
There's a lot of... It's not so much the actors probably want to see it, but it's more so the producers and a little bit of the top brass that have that infighting between the two.
Can you imagine if you had, the Luke Cage, the Iron Fist, the Jessica Jones, the Daredevil, and the Punisher, actually go from the TV universe to the main screen, fighting with the Avengers or something like that? How amazing that would be!
Yet you'd have only 2 people actually fighting. Daredevil and... Actually 3 people, if you want to include the Punisher. You'd have the Punisher, Daredevil, and maybe Luke Cage.
Jessica Jones wouldn't fight?
Oh, well, when you saw Defenders, she was just like, oh, you want the refrigerator moved? Okay. That's it.
And then you got the Iron Fist who doesn't want to hurt nobody.
Right. And you saw... In the Defenders, you saw Iron Fist power up more than you saw Jessica Jones do anything with what she has.
This is true. But I feel like they were trying to save Jessica Jones because of the new season.
They shouldn't have.
No, they shouldn't have.
Because you had Luke Cage, everybody doing the fight and power stuff, and it was pretty much Jessica Jones just standing in the corner just watching the whole thing like she was not interested.
Oh, God. But it was a good series.
Right.
Once again, Netflix and Marvel, bang up job.
And kind of quickly, it was announced, I think today, at least I saw it today.
Ta-da.
2 things that I saw it today, and I think I shared both of them. One of which was Sega is putting out an official mini of its own.
They already have minis out, though.
They are not it's licensed. It's not what Nintendo's doing. What they're planning on doing is exactly what Nintendo's doing. What Sega has done in the past is put out these licensed copies. That's vibrating.
I pull this out from left field, folks. It's a Sega Genesis AT game console, and it runs on battery or power, and has a picture of Sonic the Hedgehog on it, and it is actually outlined. If you can see the outline of it, it is actually Sonic outlined, the game system, and the controllers for it are
old school. Like a Wii remote.
Are like Wii remotes, and they are wireless because they have Wii-type games on it, but it has the old school side. You could do it sideways.
Right. And that's the thing. It's that a lot of what you have there has maybe about 15 actual Sega games on it. The rest are like Flash or made games strictly for it. But what this is going to be is, from what the reports are out, officially licensed and everything's going to be just fine for it. Meaning, also, when you buy like the Atari version or the Sega version, the sounds are a little bit off or crackly. This is going to be highly quality controlled like Nintendo has done for theirs.
Okay. I'm waiting for Nintendo. They are supposed to re-release the NES Classic. And I also heard through the grapevine that they are working on a N64 Classic.
Not really. For me, I'm not really a fan of the N64, but
blasphemy, I say. How did you not like the N64 with GoldenEye and all the great wrestling games that were for it? Cruisin' USA, Cruisin' World.
Because at that time I was still playing with the SNES.
Oh.
And
behind the times.
By the time I didn't really have the funds for a new system or get new games, and at that time Sony was just starting out with its PlayStation, and
had that too.
Then 64 was out, and by the time I did have funds for a new system or was getting into a new system,
the next one was coming out.
No, the Sony was hitting their stride.
Oh,
so the PS1 was hitting their stride, and it was starting to have a lot of games that I was interested in. So that's what got my vote right there. So I jumped from an SNES straight into a PS1.
See, and Sony, I had a PS1, first run of it, and I played the piss out of it. And there were two games I played heavily on the PS1, and that was Resident Evil, the original, because you remember they used to come in those big, thick, black, heavy plastic cases that were stupid big. Like, they were ridiculous.
Like twice, almost the size and a half of a DVD case.
It was like you could have fit 5 DVDs in that thing. It was so humongous. And then they had the giant plastic ones that were like probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick of plastic, like uber plastic. And when you open it up, you have this one lonely disc sitting in there with a little tiny booklet and nothing.
And finally, they went to the standardized CD jewel case for their stuff. And that's roughly when I got into things.
But the original Resident Evil and Twisted Metal 2 was what I played religiously on that system. And my laser lens on my system actually cracked from overplaying it.
I never had that issue.
I had that issue. I played it so much that the laser lens actually cracked in half inside the system. I actually opened it up. You could see the crack going across it.
The thing for me is I managed to get the versions of games that somehow, for some ungodly reason,
were made?
Not made. They weren't patched right or made right. I mean, if you got a day one release of a certain game, it wasn't playable past a certain point. But later releases, you can play it past a certain point. Like I've said before, that for Final Fantasy VII, I could play the game up until the halfway point, roughly halfway through it, and the game will not work for me. I'd have a corrupt date. I could have a brand new memory card, and somehow the game will be corrupted.
That's weird.
I could play it without the Game Shark, with the Game Shark, no matter what. Corrupted. It'd be the sole thing on that card.
And another thing is the original PlayStation. Crap! I forgot what I was going to say. Lost train of thought. Brain fart, folks. The original PlayStation had some really, really crap, like some real shit, like really bad titles, like Pamela Anderson's VIP. Like they made that into a game. I was like, the show is terrible, and yet you're going to make a game for it. Why? Like you could find it on the 50-cent bin, like still wrapped. It was so bad. And I don't know why they would even make licensed games like that. And, well, Nintendo had that problem, too, because they made Charlie's Angels. That was awful.
And the thing is, another game that happened, that sort of thing happened to me with, was
E.T.
not so much the... No, I just couldn't get... There wasn't a corrupt save file. The game would have errors in it. about midway through, it was completely unplayable. The disc was fine, just that the game past a certain point couldn't play through it, and that was the first Dark Cloud. I couldn't get past a certain point about midway through. Sorry, couldn't read the disc. Disc looks fine to me.
Oh, a lot of times the discs, you know that they have the different colored backings, right?
That didn't matter. A lot of people said, "Oh, that's for security issue." Nope.
No, the lens actually has different layers, and the lens actually reads the different colors. And if one of those lenses is damaged in any way, and it could happen just by playing the system, those lenses were very fragile. And if one of those lenses get damaged, PS2 had the same problem. Because remember, it was reverse compatible.
Yeah.
Sometimes the lens would get damaged, and it wouldn't read the different colored discs. It would only read the PS2 silver discs, but it would not read the blues or the black discs, because the PS1 discs, they had blues and blacks on some of them, and the PS2 had that problem to where it wouldn't read them because of that. And I think maybe that might have been a thing with PS1 as well.
And the thing is, I saw a YouTube video in regards to like the security measures that Sony put on their discs to quote unquote prevent copyright issues. A lot of people said, "Oh, the color on the back was to prevent copyright issues and piracy." That's not the case. What the security measure was to prevent the copyright was that all CD and DVD players, they adjust for wobble. Like a wobble in the disc.
Yeah.
And the discs for the PlayStation had the first 2 or 3 spins had a preset wobble that only the PlayStation was programmed to look for as a security issue. Meaning if you stuck that disc in the computer, it just see it as an everyday wobble. It didn't see it as a security feature.
No.
But if you copied that disc on to a CDR disc, it didn't copy that pre-programmed wobble. It just copied the disc.
Yes.
So if you put that copied disc in the PlayStation, when it looked for that wobble, it didn't see that pre-programmed wobble.
And that's why people were hacking the systems.
Right. Because
if you hack this, when they hacked the systems and they modified the systems, they modified it to where you didn't need the wobble, and you could just play any Joe Schmo disc that you want to put in there, any CDR you want to use. And they actually did that for a lot of systems. With the Wii, I know it was another big one that they had the whole hacking thing where they would mod the systems to do that, to read burnt discs.
And the thing is, one of the things that some people might not realize is that at least what I was told but this is in regards to the 360, that this is from the people, I don't know how true this is, but I'll say that allegedly. But
take a drink.
When I called the folks at Xbox Live, they said they are able to tell if your system's hooked up to their servers, if your system's modded, and how it's modded.
No, they can. Microsoft's actually very good about that. They're actually able to tell when you're hooked up to the internet if you have a modded system or a modded controller. And they take that very seriously nowadays, and they actually ban your account.
They asked me, it's like, we can tell that your system's modded. How is it? They asked me, it's like, how is it modded? I said, because I've had several red rings on it, the place that fixed it for me, because it was already out of warranty, put a fan on it. They said, "Oh, in that case, then you're fine, don't you? There's nothing. It's not going to really show up on our servers.
Yeah.
It's going to probably show something is done to the system, but not overly to the fact that it's going to actually say we should be monitoring your account."
I've replaced the red ring of death numerous times. I have a whole tote, one of those, those really big, long plastic totes,
yeah.
The really big, heavy ones. I have one of those full of Xbox 360 parts because I've fixed so many red rings of death. It's not even funny.
I have a right now I have two 360s. One is still working and I haven't touched since I got my Xbox One. The other one is laying with most of the case off, or at least...
My 2-year-old has two 360s.
But the thing is, the reason why it's like that is because from what I found out, the graphic card finally went on it and doesn't... That's the one I had the fan inserted on it.
Was it the white one?
No. It was the original Xbox 360 Elite, the fat one.
Yeah, I got fat ones. They're the same thing. The white, the black. The only difference was the hard drive and the color.
And
I got extra parts if you need some.
I wouldn't know how to crack the thing open if anything.
I can show you how to do it. Take me 2 minutes.
And it's just that I figured out what I had replaced on it. I had the drive replaced on it. I had the red ring of death replaced on it twice. And what finally killed it again was the aspect of the graphics card finally went, fuck it, we can't make it. All those years. And the funny thing is, as soon as I got, my buddy pretty much his cousin sent me, no, it was his nephew, sent me his, because he didn't want his anymore. And no sooner did it was in transit to my house.
You bought an Xbox One?
No, this is when mine died for the graphic card. I was like, yeah, I would have had two, one for each TV, and you son of a bitch. I'm like, you fucker.
If you would have known me earlier, I could have got you another graphics card. You would have been set.
Yeah, right.
I probably literally have 30 or 40 of them sitting in the other room.
God.
I used to buy broken Xboxes and get them for free or buy them for $10 or $20 back when Xbox 360 was a big thing. I'd buy broken ones for $10, $20 and I'd fix them and then I would resell them for $50, which is fair. Yeah, because it's usually Red Ring of Death, and Red Ring of Death is not hard to fix. Once you fixed it once, you can fix it 1,000,000 times. All it is the heat sinks on the inside, the Arctic compound that actually goes in between the heat sink and the chip, the GPU and CPUs that are under each heat sink. The Arctic silver compound, actually, the one that Xbox used was very cheap, and it got hot, and it melts off of the GPU, CPU, which causes your E error that you get with a Red Ring and the Red Ring of Death. It's very, very easy to fix, and it's very simple to fix. I have all the stuff to do that right here next to me. And the tools. And it's not hard to fix, and it's a very simple fix, and thank God for Radio Shack.
Which is now
dead.
And sadly, because this is, again, not Matt's fault. We lost our $20 digital voice recorder, which pretty much ran out of the same two AAA batteries for over a year and a half.
So you're saying it is Matt's fault?
No, it's not Matt's fault. It's not Matt's fault. Honestly, it's not Matt's fault.
Damn you, why did you break it?
I went looking for him. I was like, I want to do an interview. What the fuck is my digital voice recorder? I had it when I left the house today. I think I put it in my pocket. Where'd it go? I couldn't find it.
Crunch.
Probably crunch. Probably lost in the damn parking lot and got run over. Like, you son of a bitch. And it wasn't my fault. And that's, for right now, that's pretty much it. And
going over
the main reason why, I'm going to say this right now, this is not Nick's fault. Because of his schedule, he is, I want to say, he's doing 2 movies.
Oh, okay.
One is his Safe Place movie, which is an independent horror movie, which is going to have loads of people in it.
And blood.
And blood splatter and everything else. And he's doing a documentary on Friday the 13th.
Fantastic.
I think it's Jason Goes to Hell.
Oh.
That particular, I think he's doing a documentary.
And a lot of people didn't like that movie, and I actually enjoyed that movie slightly because it was a different spin on the Jason Voorhees.
He said, sorry, my schedule never allowed for us recording a post-Mania episode. I might not even be able to record the other one I want, because he's teaming up with somebody else to record a podcast as well. And we wanted him back on because he did the pre-card Wrestlemania episode with us. And it was just one of those wonderful things that I was out and about on a Saturday and he just like, I want to talk about wrestling. talking about movies. I'm sick and tired of talking about movies. I want to talk about wrestling. And I'm like, I'm available, and he was like, okay, and that's what we did for about an hour and a half. And he was like, okay, and we wanted to get him on like today or within the next couple of weeks. And he's like, just apologize, and I have no issue with it. We got you today.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm that, and
I'm not Nick, but I'm glad I can fill in and actually talk to you about some stuff because it's been a long time.
And I'm going to put it like this because we pretty much, or at least I figured that we kind of touched on everything right now.
That's awesome.
I'm depending on things. I might see Rampage next week or something like that. Maybe.
Tell me how that is, by the way.
If not, I'll be saving up to see Avengers the week after.
Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm going for.
I might say, you know what, screw it. I'll wait until Rampage hits Netflix.
Me and the wife actually talked about contemplating being like, screw work and just go see the movie because it's Avengers Infinity War.
Is there anything you would like to talk about or cover? I always put that option out.
I mean, we have covered a lot of cross spaces today. We have done a lot.
And obviously, this is roughly par for the course. Like I said, folks, at the tail end of this before, I'll just use this as a save file, and I'll edit in the final little touch and add the thing, and I'll encode this when I get home, hopefully, and everything else, and
That's it.
That's it. Folks, we are out of here, and I'm going to stop it right now, and we'll catch you next week. Hopefully, we'll have Big Candy in the studio. And another little side note, if everything did work out, I would have had Joe Colton on the show talking about Wrestlemania as well. But she is a very, very busy and wonderful woman. So I gave her a pass saying, no, she's very busy and that if she couldn't make it, it's fine, or she couldn't be on. But I did give her the opportunity because it's very surprising to see or hear of a woman be into wrestling. It's
not in my world.
No, in recent years, it's the female demographic
has gotten more.
It's gotten more. So
my wife loves wrestling now. I've turned her into a wrestling fan. She actually just purchased a bunch of wrestling merchandise from the WWEshop.com. Cheap plug. Sorry.
that's okay. But they're increasing demographic, so it would have been interesting to hear her take on Wrestlemania and wrestling as a whole. So, as I told her, she's more than welcome on the show anytime. She couldn't make it in, and that's always out there. Same thing, Nick, if you hear this, the same thing goes to you. So, that's it. See you guys next week, and I hope you enjoyed that little Art Bell clip that I will be attaching right about here.
Mel Waters has appeared on Coast to Coast AM several times over the years now. Many may remember his accounts of the mysterious hole on his property in central Washington, which appeared to have no bottom. The hole was, by Mel's account, measured to a depth of 80,000 feet, utilizing fishing line and a weight. Since Mel's first appearance on the show, many strange, fascinating, and rather unfortunate things have happened to Mel and the people somehow related to the hole. In a moment, it's back to Mel's Hole and more. And now, here he is from, I don't know where he is right now, Mel Waters. Mel, welcome to the program.
I'm here in the Pacific Northwest.
Somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. That'll do. First of all, it's great to hear from you, and I guess we heard from you, Mel, because were you out somewhere when we did a rebroadcast of the original Mel's Hole thing?
Yeah, I guess this was last week sometime, and I was coming back from Nevada, and it turned out I get a lot of rides from truckers. You might find this interesting. I look a hell of a lot like Willie Nelson.
Do you?
And I mean, people will come up to me, and particularly truckers, and say, "Do you know you look like Willie Nelson?"
No kidding.
And then I tell them, "No, I'm not Willie Nelson. I am Mel Waters."
And they know who you are?
Well, they know exactly who I am. And next thing you know, I've got 3 or 4 truckers standing around me, and we're talking. And
well, how do you get them to believe you? I once was out I've got an RV, Mel.
Yeah.
And we talked to truckers on CB. You know, that's real handy when you're on the road. And I encountered some truckers, my wife and I did, and we were running with them. You know, you do that. You kind of run in a pack. And they wouldn't believe it was me. They said, your name is Art. You're from probably. Are you Art Bell? I said, yes, I'm Art Bell. They said, no, you're not.
I haven't had any problem with it. You know, it's interesting. I guess a lot of the truckers that are listening to you aren't seeing you on your website, or so I guess they have no mental picture of you at all. So I think.
Well, I mean, even on the radio though, on CB, we were just talking to them on CB.
Oh, so they heard your voice.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
they would not believe it was me.
Oh.
They finally did, but it took about an hour. Anyway, Mel.
Yeah, so we're heading back, and we're near Portland, and he turns on the radio, and I'm on the air. You know, at first. I didn't believe I was, this is a dream. We've been on the road too long, and no, that was.
That clip was taken from one of the many Mel's Hole updates many, many years ago. And that being said, welcome back. This is just a little bit of a wrap-up, and this is just where I need to remind you of a few things. Like, one, if you want to contact us for any reason in regards to being on the show, comments, questions, whatever, you can do so one of several ways, one of which being the most popular, or at least the one I state the most often, and that's our email, which is longcoatmafia@gmail.com. You can also contact us on Facebook, because we do have a likable Facebook page, and that is facebook.com/thelongcoatmafiapodcast. While you're there, leaving us a message, you can also click that like button. And doing so will give you updates about what's happening with the show, see news that we tend to share of all types, and you too can contribute to that page, providing it's within certain reasons, because I do not condone any type of hate speech or so forth and so on our Facebook page. And the other way you could two ways you could contact us is by DMing or direct messaging us on Twitter, or replying to our tweets that we tend to put out on a somewhat regular basis. And our Twitter handle is Longcoat Mafia, and you could also direct message us and follow us as well. You could, while you're on Twitter, follow us on Twitter. Our Instagram handle is also Longcoat Mafia. You could leave us a direct message. You could follow us on Instagram. And last but not least, we do have a YouTube account, but because our followers are still way, way small, and sometimes, or I should say a lot of times, or more often than not, YouTube tends to change how it runs things. So for right now, we do not have the subscriber base to change our random number addition to the after the YouTube to something more along the lines of Longcoat Mafia Podcast. But if you do search for the Longcoat Mafia Podcast on YouTube, you can find our YouTube page. Or if you so choose, hop over to our website, which is thelongcoatmafia.podbean.com. And let me please repeat that just in case I screwed up myself. Our website is thelongcoatmafia.podbean.com, because every show that we put out on a weekly basis is listed there along with the show description. And in the show description, it is our YouTube link is there, along with several other links. I think our Instagram link is there, our Facebook page link is there, our Twitter link is there, our email address is there, and plus there are links there. If you click on iTunes and Google Play Music, it'll send you to the appropriate links for your smartphone or tablet device or your mobile device to be able to listen to us on the go. That's right, we are on iTunes/Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Spotify, and various other mobile apps, including the Podbean app, so you can listen to us on the go if you so choose through any one of those many options, which is wonderful. And while I'm here, because I know I didn't do it really that much last week, I've been trying to do it, and I want to thank all of you who have been listening over the past weeks, months, years, all of you who on our Facebook page, who have been following us, who liked us and followed us, all of you, I think we're up to 161 follows on Facebook right now, which is great. It's wonderful. It's been a rough struggle to get more people to follow. So if you like the page and like what we do there, if you want to help us spread the word, you're more than welcome to do so and share our posts. All 230 some odd of you on both our Twitter page, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you if you found us through those means of social media. Thank you for following us and listening to us as well. And as well, we do wish to thank all 940 some of you. Can you believe that? 940 of you, over 940 of you who listen to us on the Podbean app. That's right. Well, not all of you who subscribe to us on the Podbean app listen to us on a weekly basis, but there is over 940 some odd people that follow us on the Podbean app. That is amazing. And all that within the past 8 months, 9 months. That's crazy insane. And thank you for listening. Thank you for following. That's amazing. We have loads of stuff coming down the road for you to listen to. Probably a couple more hostfuls, but we'll see. Hopefully we can get more people in studio and see what is happening. There are a lot of good things coming down the road. What and when, not even I know right now. But there are things coming down the road, and maybe we'll see what happens. And thank you so much for making this almost a year and 1 month of straight original content, and not having me not really diving down and reaching into the depths of our past podcast, now defunct, called The Electric Eye. Even though we did some great work there, I don't like really using those episodes for various reasons. I think I'm gypping you, our listeners, our fans. But either way, if you wish to listen to if you missed out, you're a new listener, please, you're able to listen to any past episode through whatever, the Podbean app, Spotify. I don't know how far back our past episodes go back on Spotify, but you can also catch past episodes, if you're new, on Google Play Music, Apple Podcasts, and iTunes. Plus, you can go all the way back to the beginning. Listen to our the live events we've done, those convention panels, their interviews with the amazing guests, our previous hosts that we had on, our regular hosts, everything on our main website, which is thelongcoatmafia.podbean.com. And I do believe if you subscribe to us on the Podbean app, or follow us or listen to us on the Podbean app, you can go all the way back as well. So that's a great thing. So please follow us, like us on social media, listen to us, share us with your friends. So again, thank you, Joe, for being on our show this week and talking to us about wrestling, Wrestlemania, and some of the recent events that have been happening in Geekdom and with everything else. So I'll catch all of you listeners out there next week, and take care. I am out.
See you next time on the Long Coat Mafia.